Thank you, everyone, for coming. If everyone can please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and I see we have the accounts payable register going around, the consent agenda, which is also going around this week, only includes building permits. We had done minutes last time during the meeting that didn't happen, or the meeting that was from last week when people came in and signed on Monday. So if someone could pass the payroll register. Thank you. What I meant there was last week's meeting didn't happen because of the Veterans Day holiday. So here we are today. But we did come in and sign the minutes from the meeting prior to that. So the payroll register for the week ending November 18th, 2025 is payroll in the amount of $36,297. Payroll taxes in the amount of $10,016. We have accounts payable in the amount of $79,166. There were no payments this week to Swayze Co-op or to the retirement system. I would accept the motion to accept the payroll register.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And next on the agenda will be the consent agenda for the building permits that were signed. So I take a motion for that as well.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. First up, we have a long list of discussion items today, so we'll try to move them as efficiently as we can. But we'll start with Sergeant Spitaleri, who is here to discuss the sale of the Ford Explorer. Yeah. And how you're proposing doing that.
So earlier in the year, the PD had proposed getting rid of 3 cruisers. One was a Ford Taurus, and then the last of our 2 2018 Ford Explorers. Both Explorers had over 130,000 miles on them. Really, they're useless. If we put it out to bid, we'd get $200. The last Explorer that we sold for $200. The outfitter that we use in Atkinson, we'd struck a deal with them for stripping the cars, essentially giving the cars up, and then they would strip it, do what they wanted to do with the equipment that they found maybe had some use for it. If another agency wanted to buy it for them, we exchanged the cars for labor on our stuff. The first car that we had done it on was the first Explorer. We exchanged that for $1,000 worth of labor on the Dodge Charger. Pretty sure it was a Dodge Charger. One of the cars we did labor on. We re-outfitted it. The second deal was an old Tahoe had been made a detail car, and then when Chief Doty was here, he was going to take that for himself. In exchange for stripping it, getting rid of the markings, blacking it out, putting the new lighting equipment in it that was in his old Taurus, he had agreed that ITS would take the Taurus and the second Explorer. The second Explorer never made it to you guys, only the Taurus. However, the PD has already given the Taurus and the Explorer to ITS, and that labor has been done. I'm driving the Tahoe. So essentially, I'm here to just kind of clear up and get it on official paperwork that if the board would agree to release the title for that second Explorer, because it's the only piece that's missing now. The Taurus and the first Explorer are gone. The second Explorer is just being held in limbo for the title.
And they've already done all the work,
They've already done all the work.
and they already have it.
They have the car.
Motion to release.
Second.
And what's the amount of the credit, just so that's clear?
$1,000.
Okay.
It was
Is
it was again another $1,000 worth of labor.
So we're talking $3,000 worth of credit for the 3 vehicles?
Correct.
Okay.
And is that in writing with this vendor, or is that just like a oral
It's
agreement?
an oral agreement, and they did the work on both cars. They've been outfitted, and they're both downstairs.
I don't think there's any credit pending. I think
It's
work that's already done, so the cars make it square and even.
If we
Because
don't,
otherwise we'll have to pay them.
Correct.
you'd have to pay them
Yes.
for the labor, and we still have to get the car going.
So the only thing is that we would need some sort of, well, we need a bill of sale,
Right.
and we need some sort of, I believe we need a monetary, even if it's $1, we need to sell that car to them for $1, and then, you know,
Well, it would be basically $1,000
Well,
labor, right?
correct, but I think we definitely need some paperwork from them letting us know what they provided, you know, in return, right?
I can have them do up an invoice. It just outlines the work that they did with a total.
Good.
And that's labor on the outfitting the vehicles
Tahoe and stuff.
Correct.
that we're using.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm using it right now. They gave us the car back without actually.
Okay. Was that the full?
It's good.
3,000?
It's a good faith on them.
Yeah, was it
yeah.
the full 3,000 on that one?
The labor in total was about $3,000 that we didn't have to pay.
Yeah.
In
I
two
understand the good
Yep.
faith part, but we definitely need something in writing.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I can have the general manager write up an invoice for totaling the work on the Tahoe and
Cool.
in exchange for the 2 cars.
Any other concerns, questions?
No, Julie, I think we should just we'll sell it to them for $1 and, yeah, and then get the invoice and we're good. Yeah. That'll work.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Whatever.
Sign only in the right spot.
Yeah, do you know where to sign it?
Because if you sign it in the wrong spot, it's
Yeah,
a
this-
big
seller's
problem. It's a
signature.
big problem.
Just sign. Don't fill anything else out.
Right.
It all goes on the bill of sale. It's a nightmare if you don't.
And just Paul, right? Is that
Just
probably
Paul,
enough?
yep.
It's that many fewer chances of signing in the wrong spot.
All right, we have next on the agenda the acceptance of Tanya Lane. There's a letter that also had been sent out to us by the chair of the planning board, Kristen Aldred.
I'm very Gary with Jones Beach Engineers, representing the ROH, just here for questions.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks. Where's Tanya Lane?
Can you just repeat your name one more time?
Yeah, my name is Barry Geyer. I'm with Jones and Beach Engineers, here representing Brentwood ROH, who is the developer of Tanya Lane.
Thank you.
Where is that?
Tanya Lane is over off of South Road on the side towards Fremont.
Okay.
It's a development that went in, what, a few
I think it's
years
been
ago?
paved for 4 years, so.
There's approximately 13 or so.
That sounds right.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
And I know this has been a discussion of the planning board as well in terms of acceptance of this roadway, because there were, so I thought Mark might be here, but where he isn't, I'd invite, either Doug to, or both Dougs to
Well, I was gonna
address.
ask, has Wayne taken a look at the road and made sure everything's the way we want it to be, or?
I don't
In compliance and everything else?
No, but we
for
did have the
plowing?
town engineer go out there, and that's what was indicated in Chair Aldred's letter. So there were some concerns in terms of the construction of the culverts because they didn't specifically meet the town standard. So the planning board had gone out and, let me just finish and then
Sure, yeah.
you can address, but had done some inspections and then also had the town engineer go out there. And I think the upshot was that even though it may not have specifically met the ordinance in terms of the construction, that they did not see that it would degrade the road in any manner or degrade the system for draining water off the road as well. A number of, I think the developer's story was that he had sold these lots so that really it was the responsibility of the homeowners ultimately. And I know that the planning board has sent or will be sending a letter to the homeowners explaining that these were the concerns that was found by the planning board. The planning board did approve to discharge the bond. And I know there's concern in terms of how we review the driveways after post-construction for purposes of permitting. And there is at least, and this is really for another day, how we do that procedurally and what we charge. Because right now, what we charge for review of a driveway post-construction is not sufficient for purposes of doing the type of engineering inspection that's required. But I understand at this point, they're looking to accept Tanya as a town road, and it would seem as though it otherwise meets the standard that it is going to be sufficient for purposes of drainage and not degrading the road. How do I have, how is that, Doug? And Doug?
The road specifically is fine, the culverts. The road itself specifically is fine. There was question on the culverts and the, going into the driveway, and that's what our concern was.
And the
After-
concern was it was, instead of it being concrete, which is what the ordinance required, it was made of some
PVC?
other, yeah.
Yeah,
And then there was a concern too in terms of the coverage of soil over the culverts not being sufficient. It seemed as though there was some wash out of that, so.
Well, PVC is better anyway because it doesn't have the bell housing that comes separated after frost season. I know that because I had to dig mine up and then I had to get a variance in order to put down PVC. Still in the ordinance that we have to put concrete.
I don't know if, I'm sorry, I missed your name, but
It's
if you want.
Barry Geyer.
Barry,
You
if you-
covered the issue
Okay.
pretty accurately.
All
so.
right.
Other than that, there's no further issue. Doug Finnan, Planning Board. I didn't know.
Do we have a copy of the letter from the planning board? Because I did not see it. I just looked at my email and I didn't.
It was an attachment.
Oh, with.
I didn't see it either, so.
When we approved the updated fee schedule, was there an increase in driveway permit fees?
I believe there was, but I'm not sure what they are, and if,
I would suggest for another meeting, we take a look at that and maybe in the interim task Chuck and Mark to, give us some recommendation on what might be required for a post.
yeah, because that might not be in there. It might just be a driveway permit, might not be a post inspection, so.
Yeah, I was just thinking if those go into effect on January 1st, we should try to make all those changes before they go into effect.
Yeah, so we can task Mark and Chuck to take a look at that moving forward.
So planning board's all set with this? Okay.
Planning board is all set. There's also a letter from the Developers Council, John Arnold of Orr and Reno, who is formally requesting the acceptance, noting the planning board vote to release the bond, securing the completion of Tanya Lane. We believe the developer, Mr. Healy, has complied with all the requirements. At your direction, Mr. Healy will execute and deliver the deed to the town. If anything further is needed, please let us know. Yeah. Doug Marino.
Just very quickly, Doug Marino, Planning Board member. Just to address Jim's question, this was a long process, but when it was all said and done, I felt like we reached consensus as a board, and I would have to double check the minutes, but I believe it was unanimous. No, it was not unanimous. It was not unanimous, but the motion did pass.
What was the count?
6-1? 6-1.
If the culverts are in the right of way and the town owns the right of way, are we gonna be responsible for any of that?
We would, but the town, typically, we don't own the right of way, we just have access to the right of way.
So this is us owning the right of way.
Is that true?
I think.
So
Isn't
in
that-
your package, that we sent to the planning board, there is a letter from the road agent indicating that the town does not maintain driveway culverts. It's the homeowner's responsibility.
Oh, okay.
Is that written down officially anywhere?
Besides the
said-
packet.
It was the packet sent to the.
No,
planning
no, no,
board.
like, is that a town ordinance, or is that just how we've always done it?
No idea.
I think right away, if you start getting into right of way laws and regulations, we don't go around and mow the right of way. We don't go around and maintain the right of way. We don't maintain ditches, and we've had that historically in the past.
Permissive right. It's
Yeah.
not ownership of possession. It's just a right of way. It's a permissive right.
Right, so when they're paving the roads, they can set
Yeah.
up stuff on the sides, and when we're putting in bridges,
So there's an RSA or an ordinance or something that is gonna keep us from having to fix these if they break. That's all I'm asking.
It's the homeowner's owned property.
yeah, we don't own it. They do.
Right. So I'll make a motion to accept Tanya Lane as a town road.
Second.
Doug Marino.
Sorry, I just double checked the minutes. I want to make sure the board has accurate information. The vote was 5-2 on the planning board to recommend acceptance of the road, 5-2. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Does it matter who?
No.
Does it matter who? You gonna embarrass me and say I was against?
For what
Is
reason?
that true?
No,
No, I- Liz Bruce, yeah. I didn't think so. Doug. I was wondering why you were. I don't think we ever got a chance to talk about it. So if you want to
Would you like,
explain,
would you
can.
like to explain why you didn't want it? Public comment?
I didn't think it was me.
No, in the letter that it was initially written, there was a comment that was made in reference to the contractor and the due diligence in getting the job done properly. I don't have it specifically in front of me, but it was suggested that that line was taken out of the letter. And I thought, under the circumstances, even though COVID existed at the time, there was no reason for a contractor that's familiar with our ordinances should have not been on top of doing the culverts properly. They were not done, and I thought that would indicate there was some sort of either lack of communication with this particular contractor and/or an oversight.
Or there should have been some communique when he was selling the lots to the homeowners.
Correct.
Well, I mean,
But be that as it may.
Are the homeowners aware of this
There's a-
situation?
So there's a letter.
The
that
letter-
is either
Okay.
issued or is issuing.
And going to each homeowner.
but
Not-
they do have PVC culverts
Yes, they do.
instead
And-
of concrete, so actually it will handle the frost heaving a lot better in the long run.
That comment was made during the planning board. We do have an experienced
Are
engineer
we setting,
on our,
are we setting a precedence by
and that was our concern.
accepting it for future?
No,
I don't think we're setting a precedent as long as, we are satisfied that there's not going to be any degradation of the road itself, which is what the concern is for purposes of accepting the road.
Has the planning board thought about putting forth something to go with the new PVC tubing versus restricting everyone to
it
have to
was
use
suggested by
concrete?
one of the planning board members that their reinforcement on either side be done on that. And it was suggested that way, but that never materialized.
So right now it's just in limbo.
No, because we've accepted the road.
But going forward, any development, how is that going to be a pushback potentially since we made
I think it was noted
exception?
in the letter that this does not
comply?
comply.
Right.
I don't have the letter directly in front of me.
So do we have to
In
make,
doing its due diligence, the planning board has established that the existing culverts, while not built to town standards, will not undermine the integrity of the drainage network necessary to protect Tanya Lane moving forward.
That sounds
Again,
correct.
again, my only concern is
setting a precedent?
setting a precedence. If we are going to take this, then now there's the argument that we can do it again.
Well, so my position, the board has noted and the town has noted, and the homeowners are gonna get noticed that that is not the acceptable way in the future. So I think that covers you as far as setting a precedent. You're saying it doesn't meet the precedent, so it can't set the precedent.
Yeah, this all, and this goes back to the whole notion of the post-construction inspection that I mentioned of driveways, which we need to,
Mhm.
we're not gonna figure out today, but we should have a discussion about that ought to address, this issue
Right,
moving forward.
and moving forward, I mean, the planning board could do a couple things, and that's part of the discussion point, is they could, my recommendation would that they talk to the engineer, the town engineer, and see, is the PVC, is that a better product than the concrete culverts? And I know because of the bell housing with frost heaving, we are in frost heave area.
And you make a very
Separate,
good
and then you
point.
get sinkholes, which is, I know it happened to my driveway, and I ended up having to repave it and lift it all up and do all that sectioning. So I think that would be something that I would recommend to the planning board, that they need to relook at that and see if that might need to be a change. I'm still fine with moving forward with accepting this road, but I think there's some additional due diligence that needs to be done by the planning board, and I would recommend that.
And I believe we're looking at that currently.
And hopefully if there's a warrant article that needs to be put up forward, they get it done for this year.
And then also, as I said, the post-construction process.
Right.
We need to address, so.
Yep.
We have a motion and a second.
Yep. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any against?
Nay.
It passes 4-1.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Have a great night. Happy Thanksgiving.
Okay, next on the agenda, we do have some conservation documents. I am pretty sure, and this is for review and signing. So I'm pretty sure, but correct me if I'm wrong, Julie, that we had already agreed to the contracts for the environmental as well as the survey of the Stevens property that we're going to take over, that he's gifting as a potential future cemetery. But we do have the contracts here for review, if anyone wants to look at them. I think they were part of the package, and then I would go ahead and sign those contracts. I don't know if they require.
Is the budget and everything else in there?
Yeah, so,
Did it come in with what they said it was gonna be?
yes. $6,400 was for the survey, and $3,000 was for the environmental, which was, I believe, what we had voted on previous. And then in terms of signing these, it looks like just requires one signature for the survey. Yeah. Seen the signature pages.
It's like a mortgage, initial here, initial there.
Okay. Yes, looks like one signature on the environmental page, so I'll sign both of those. If anyone wants to,
Do we need another motion? Motion for you to sign, but I think we already basically
Yep.
approved it already, so.
so if anyone wants to review them, they're here, but they were also part of the package, so.
Which budget line are these coming out of?
I think we had discussed that last time. Do you recall what we had? It came out of that reserve line, didn't it?
Yes, for the Stevens property. Yes, for the Stevens property.
So I'll,
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I will go ahead and sign. While I'm signing, there's also a third contract, which I don't believe we had discussed previous, and this is the consulting services contract for Anna Boudreau, who is the Conservation Commission's contractor. She provides advice and consulting services with regard to the Open Space Committee, interfaces with potential people who have conservation property, has a lot of knowledge with regard to handling conservation easements. She's used on an as-needed basis. I believe, she did increase her hourly rate by, it was like maybe $20 or $30. Mr. Kennedy, I think, is here, but
He
we're
is, but
beyond.
I just gave him a thumbs up. It's
Okay.
good to go.
all right.
There's no point in holding them.
Um,
We've already voted.
So the consulting services contract did go up by, I want to say it was either $20 or $30 an hour.
Ooh.
But let's see, I don't think it necessarily changed the budget, though, in terms of the Conservation Commission's budget, because they were going to use her for the same amount in terms of,
What was her rate before and what's she at now?
well, it's a good question.
She's at 90 now.
She's doing 110?
I don't know,
Let's take a look at the contract.
the contract.
It's,
Sorry, the contract says 90.
The one that we're looking at now, or the old one?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, previously she may have been at 70. So she went from
went-
70 to 90. And then there's a fee for services shall not exceed $67.50, 75 hours. Let's see. Boudreau will work on an hourly basis as the rate agreed upon up to a maximum of $67.50. And will provide monthly reports on hours worked.
She's basically looking for a 28% raise.
The wording actually, and I don't know anything other than what this says. It actually says that it's a discounted rate of $90 an hour. So I don't know what, sounds like she's already giving us a discount maybe. I don't know what her full rate is.
But if she was charging us $70 an hour, now she's getting a 28% raise from what she was charging us.
Do you know that,
Well, no, I'm just doing math.
I don't know that she was charging 70 before.
I'm also concerned as I'm reading this as well. It says, third page, it says the fee for services, including expenses rendered under the scope of work shall not exceed 67.50, 75 hours. And then the very next sentence says, the total fee for services performed under this agreement shall not exceed $9,500 without written approval of the commission. So you know what, I'm starting to think that we may want to table this and get some additional information from either Rob Wolfchuck or Lisa McNaughton, who could assist in terms of.
Motion to table.
Second.
We'll get this signed hopefully at the next, once we get some clarification on that.
Well, and I would ask, what was the prior rate? And I want to see the old contract.
Yeah.
I want to compare the two.
And I think part of it is that she was working through some sort of nonprofit previous where she was able to charge at a lesser rate, and now she's gone out privately. And I don't know if I have that.
It was $80 an hour before.
$80, so now she's only going up $10. But then the numbers are still off.
Yeah, so we'll have to get that clarified.
And then I guess my thing would be is, who was the nonprofit that she was working for, and do they have somebody over there that she's gone out on her own that we can get the rate that we had before?
I can tell you that she was very helpful, and I hear you.
It's just business. So to
No, I
me,
know.
it's like, great, I was getting this service over here, that person left, they went out on their own. I really like that person, so I'm gonna stick with them, but they're gonna charge me $3,000 more. Now I go, well, how much are you gonna charge me? Well, I'm gonna charge you this much. Okay, and now I have a contract that's got a $3,000 variable.
So I don't know. I'm not on the Conservation Commission, so I don't know, but the previous contract was also just with her. There was no other nonprofit. It was just with her, just like this one is.
Right, but I think she was able to run it through some sort of nonprofit, and that's why we had the lesser rate. So I'll get some clarification on that from
Yeah.
Rob Wolfchuck and/or Lisa McNaughton.
We didn't vote on that, though.
Oh, to table? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Julie, do you want to talk about policy on inspectors reviewing their own work? There was a policy as part of the package.
Sorry, there was a resident who had a concern about some of our inspectors reviewing their own work, and it was suggested that we have put a policy in place about inspectors reviewing their own work. So that was drafted. If anyone wants to see it, I sent it, but if anyone else wants to see it, I can pass it around again.
By inspectors inspecting their own work, you mean like the town contracts with an electrical inspector?
Right,
If that electrical inspector, as an electrician,
is doing a project in town.
they shouldn't be, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that
it
a-
becomes a conflict of interest.
Has that something had an issue with before, or is this just crossing the Ts, dotting the Is kind of thing?
I'm guessing there might have been an issue, and that's why this resident brought it up.
Okay.
Because if the inspector's approving it, it's a conflict if I'm doing my work and then saying, yeah, my work is good.
Oh, for sure. That's why I'm surprised that we were doing that.
Yeah, I wasn't aware we were doing that, so. You guys want to?
I'm good with this policy. It just makes sense.
Yep. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Do you want us to sign it?
Julie?
You got to vote on it?
Yep. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll pass it back over to you.
All All right, and then there was discussion with regard to building permit process.
And I'll speak to that again. I know it came up last week when we were off, but different board members were coming in to sign off on building permits, that it would be helpful if the building inspector reviewed the permits before they came to the board. And I actually found in our select board policies that that was the original intent, was to have him sign off on them before they came to the board. But in addition to that, I was just gonna throw it out there that when I was talking to Chuck about this, he said he has never seen it where the select board signs off on building permits, and that you can delegate that to somebody, being Chuck. If you wanted to, it does have to get voted on at town meeting, so if that's something you're interested in, we need to get the wheels moving now. If you wanted to wait, I was just throwing it out there as.
We
something you
tried
might
doing
want.
it a little while ago, and Mark found that it was actually in the
Ordinance.
planning board ordinances that the select board members would sign off on it, so that that ordinance would have to get amended,
Right,
which is the warrant article you're talking about.
so I just didn't know if it was something that you would be interested in. I mean, I
Well,
don't know how closely they're looked at.
I talked to Chuck, and I mean, there's a reason we have a building inspector. I personally think that it makes sense to go forward and do that. You know, in all honesty, I mean,
Right. I think there was a time many, many years ago, as I understand it from speaking with Bruce Stevens about it, that when there was less activity and the select board, you know, would know each and every building permit that was getting before them. Now, I mean, that really isn't practical.
That was also how the building inspector was paid,
Yeah, he was paid by,
the permit.
it wasn't part of the budget, so to speak.
So
He had a fee structure that he
Yeah.
got.
one of the things that was surprising to me, though, is that we were getting these building permits without an initial review in the first instance. So I think that definitely needs to change, because it made me realize, boy, we're signing things that,
We don't know.
yeah, that we are signing, you know, in good faith, but, you know, I'd want an initial review of that first by our building inspector, so.
I would support a letter to the planning board chair that we would like to seek a amendment to the ordinance.
I agree.
but we should also, we can vote to have Chuck do it ahead of time. Review it and give us okay ahead of time.
Right.
Yes.
So
Do we,
make-
Sorry.
I'm not sure that really needs to, I mean, I'm not sure you need to vote on that. It does say that the policy will remain in effect until the majority of the Board of Selectmen rescind it.
So that is the policy.
Right.
We just need to make sure that the policy is,
Followed.
The current,
Yes.
policy, yeah,
yeah, that the policy is happening,
yeah.
is
it-
being implemented.
Right, the policy states that completed applications will be reviewed by the building inspector for zoning compliance prior to submission to selectmen for signatures. And that, in most cases, that would necessitate a site inspection, so.
I mean, I suppose if.
If he's
it would-
reviewing it, then he's making a recommendation to us to sign it,
Right,
then
right,
we
but
sign it.
that's not how it's been happening, so I
Right.
don't know if we want to make, you know, at least some sort of statement that moving forward, the policy should be followed.
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah.
It should be in the minutes that we,
We can even move to say that this is,
Restate the policy.
yeah.
I make a motion to restate the policy.
Yeah.
And I
Second.
agree with what Andy's saying too.
yep.
Why don't we do that one first? Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then Andy, I'm sorry.
Letty?
Aye.
Okay.
Andy had a motion with regard to sending a letter to the planning board to review the notion of changing the ordinance to give that designee of signage over to the inspector.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I had a question. Do we have to continue signing every one of us signing every single building permit, or?
Yes,
Can-
until,
Till that
It has to be a
ordinance is
majority,
changed.
so 3 people have to sign it.
Otherwise, the permit's not valid because of the way the ordinance is set up right now. It's got to be changed in order to modify.
So the ordinance says that we have to sign it specifically, not just approve it?
correct.
Well, our signature is
the approval, right.
Well, but we, okay. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if we could have like a list of ones that he recommended for us every week, and we can just approve the list.
Well, I know historically, like Kip would actually basically get them, look through them, and the ones that came to us are the ones that he was recommending for approval. At some point, that probably changed. And now we've just been getting them and signing them.
Yeah, and I would recommend to Chuck that, you know, he have a form of his own that he signs.
Yeah, he was
letting us know.
suggesting maybe a stamp or something saying that he had reviewed it and approved.
Yep.
Yeah, something, you know, it doesn't come before us until he approves it.
Right.
Right.
Once he approves it, then it can come to us.
And he did look at all the ones that you guys had today, so.
Okay.
Oh, good.
All right.
Move the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, moving down the list, we have discussion of the responsibilities and role of select board member.
Well, we were doing the review and requirements of reinstatement of a lapsed.
Yeah, you missed F.
Oh, sorry.
Let's go to F first.
Reinstatement of a lapsed New Hampshire police certification and reviewing the requirements. So,
Letty, did you have a question on that? I know,
I did. I was actually just pulling up, or trying to pull up that email that I sent to you.
I'm going to
So
rely
Just
on
out
the-
of,
But
just
somebody
out of
else-
curiosity, shouldn't the chief be here for this discussion?
So technically, as his, so it looked like as the employers, we are the ones that are going to be requesting the waiver. Which is not to say that he shouldn't be here, but that's what it looks like this says.
So my understanding is we have made that request. We've signed the forms.
When did, what forms?
So there's, I believe, like a Form E that would need to be filed.
So we have, or we're going to?
No, I believe we have. I was asked to sign a form, so I did so, which would
We
permit.
already offered him the position, signed the
Yeah.
contract, so we're.
But wouldn't that be a board decision if we want to sign that form or not?
What do you mean?
We
It was a
made the
board
motion.
decision to hire him.
Yeah, the-
To hire him, yes.
and that, I believe that was one of the requirements in his hiring, is that he get recertified.
Yes.
Right, so there was a form making that request, and I thought that was
There,
perfunctory.
no, there are two different ways that he could be certified based on what this document says. Either he can go through the academy like anyone else who wants to become a certified officer, or we as the employers can request a waiver. And it sounds like we requested a waiver, or you requested a waiver. Is
I
that
would,
accurate?
I would say we probably would request a waiver since he's already been through the academy. He was a chief
I
for
don't know if I would
13
call it
years.
a waiver. My understanding is that there was a form that made the request from the town. I mean, it says,
It's
He
a
went-
reinstatement, right?
yeah,
Right.
it's
He-
a Form E.
Which, if
Which-
I'm not mistaken, the Form E is your psych eval, which he passed, background check, which he passed, and the physical
That's Form
part of
A.
it that he passed.
That's a different form, yeah.
Well, that's a Form A.
Okay.
That's saying that we've hired him as a full-time
Off,
police officer and that he has completed a background check, a psychological evaluation.
So then the Form E is the one that we produced for him
That's
to
the
go.
form, I believe, that I signed, Andy.
A Form E is a form requesting reinstatement of certification.
Which we also signed because he's going through that process. He couldn't go through the process if we didn't have it signed.
but the board, did I miss the board approving that? I guess is the question.
Why would the board have to approve?
signing a
That-
document.
Well, his hiring was contingent on it, on him doing that. So
His
Him getting
hiring was
restated.
contingent on him becoming a certified, or a full, I know I'm gonna say this wrong again, Andy, I'm sorry. This is one way that that this could happen. The other way would be going to the academy.
He's going to the academy. It's
So I think
part of the
this is why
hiring
the
process.
chief should be here for this discussion, because
Yeah.
nobody has any idea of what is actually going on.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we do.
Okay.
It-
So Form E is requesting that the council reinstate his certification based on his prior abilities.
Yeah.
And then he would have to test out of the law package.
Correct. And he is in the process of doing all that.
But based on, I guess, as his employer, we should know about that more, maybe is really what it is. Because the next class doesn't start till January and they're full, so.
So I think Letty's point is that he was supposed to come back to us with his options of obtaining his full-time certification back. There was no discussion on what was gonna happen next, just that he needed to do it. So I think that's what the question is.
Well, if I'm not mistaken,
I think in order to go before the council, and I think that's in process.
The
So-
Form A had to happen in order for him to go in front of the council.
Right, so I've asked Julie to pull the forms that were signed. I was asked to sign by Chief Murch, and it was at least my understanding, I was being asked to sign a form that allowed the process to begin, a process that I thought we had already agreed upon and voted as a board, so,
which we did.
right.
Well, we voted that there had to be a process, we just didn't know what it was, because
Right.
the chief said he was talking to council to see what the options were.
Right, and I think that process is still occurring. I don't think he has those.
Options?
Yeah.
That's why I said this conversation should be taking place with the chief here.
Yeah, I agree.
We're doing a lot of speculation and
So we haven't signed Form E yet, so
Form E,
Form A.
we've signed Form A, not Form E.
not Form E. I had asked for his Form B.
Form B is firing.
Form B is no longer being an officer, and so I had asked for a copy of his Form B.
Well, why don't we, it looks like I had signed Form A, which I thought was appropriate, given our prior vote. And, you know, if there are further questions, we'll invite Chet Murch,
I would
Chief
say-
Murch, to the next meeting.
Yeah, invite him for the next meeting and let him know that we're gonna wanna know discussions about what's going on with the certification process.
And if we could get something in writing from Police Standards and Training about what the options are, that would be good too. Just so that we can have something to refer back to.
How's that process work? Is that normal, that they give something in writing, or?
They would make a decision of the council, but I mean, if we can't,
I don't know that we
Never
can
mind.
get something in writing from them.
I thought that criteria was
there
in
would be,
writing.
there would.
I would just want to know what the
Council
timelines
minutes.
are and options.
So
Again, I think we should table this until we have Chief Murch.
That works, I agree.
Done.
Do we need a motion on that or no? No,
I think so.
all right. Let's go to G.
Okay. Responsibilities, role of select board member appointed as ex officio committee member. I mean, I can start the discussion. I know there is concern with respect to our vote that was taken at the last select board meeting, the meeting prior to that, in which we had agreed that there would be a performance raise for employees not to exceed 2.8%. That was a motion made by
Andy, I think
Andy.
it was up to 2.8%.
right, not to exceed or up to 2.8%. And at the budget committee meetings, my understanding is that they've been approving budgets that have a 3% for staff and employees. There is a provision in the handbook.
I have it in front of me if you want me to read it.
Go ahead.
Number 4, select board members who serve as ex officio members or liaisons of other boards and committees are expected to vote and act in the manner that is consistent with the majority viewpoint of the board to the extent practical. So if this board votes for 2.8%, we're required to vote 2.8%. We can't say we want 3%. If they say we're going to go up to 2.8%, they're bound by what this board does collectively. Whether they agree or disagree, they have to vote consistent with what this board votes as. They're representing this board when they're assigned to those committees. And I'm pretty firm on that position just because that's why they're appointed. We can't all attend different meetings. There's a reason that we have a vote, we make a vote. They're representing this board as our liaison from this board to that board. And they're required to make those recommendations based on what we voted. If they're going against that, that's a problem. I have a problem with that.
So are we saying that the budget committee vote to approve a 3% raise was, the decision was made by a majority of one vote, being the select board member?
Correct. I mean, I can, if the budget committee chair wants to, amplify on that?
Letty had something to say, so I think.
Yes.
One, surprise, didn't know this was gonna come up.
It's been on the agenda.
I didn't know it was
Okay.
about this specific issue. Seems a bit cowardly. For clarity, and only because I remember when this motion was made, I clarified several times, and I know I'm looking at you, Andy, because you were the one that said it. I thought it was just a COLA because it was the 2.8. You clarified that it was COLA, merit, whatever combination. So this assertion that it's only merit is also, I think, inaccurate, just so we're clear.
That's not how the transcript of that meeting reads, I can tell you. I looked at it, and it was specifically a motion that was based on performance. I mean, I'm looking at a transcript of that meeting, which says, and this is Andy's words, I would amend, well, start from the beginning, but I'm talking about,
I'm not sure that's pertinent right now. It's
well,
clear that-
you raise it, so I think
I
it's
have
pertinent.
not had a chance to review the transcript, so I don't think getting into the details
Well,
right now.
Andy's motion was specifically to amend that to based on performance, an employee can receive up to 2.8% increase. And that's the motion that was voted upon.
And what was the vote?
It was 4-1.
So my concern is that there was a vote for 3%. I don't know how many other budgets was, I guess that would be something I would ask you, Jim Hajar from the Budget Committee, to clarify for me.
No, go ahead. If they want to hear from you, go ahead.
Jim Hazer, Chair, Budget Committee. Yeah, so we did cemetery, planning,
Town clerk, tax collector.
yes. And,
I think those are the only ones that had.
yeah,
Emergency management technically had a raise, but I think it was 2%.
but, I mean, the meeting was it came up on the 10th. That was the meeting when this all came up. And, yeah, I don't think the I don't think the message that this board had voted, the 2.8%, was clearly articulated to the Budget Committee. And you, I'm just going by the facts. I mean, like, you voted to make it 3%, when on this board, you voted for 2.8. I believe Mr. Michaud was the only one to vote no. And it definitely caused like a confusion on my committee. And I think, is that what you were asking?
I think, just some amplification on, what happened, because I think the question was, was it a one vote differential? And the answer is. I
Yes.
believe yes.
What was the vote? What
believe
was
it
the percent numbers?
I believe it was 4-3.
4-3, yeah.
Yeah.
I was in,
Last,
And
are you talking about last week or
the
last
10th.
night?
The 10th.
I haven't
No,
watched the
last
meeting
night last night didn't become an issue because I just clearly, when I put together, like the cemetery trustees had voted, we had a meeting the Thursday before that 10th. We approved a 2.8, even though we had already submitted something with the placeholder to this select board, but I was here for the vote. I knew what you had voted and I knew what your intent was. So the trustees voted. We went on the record saying that we were giving our employee a 5 out of 5 performance appraisal, and thus she got the max 2.8. And, but that is not, like I said, there was a lot of confusion because, again, I cannot speak for why there was confusion. I thought the vote that you guys made was pretty clear, that it was a 2.8% max. So I had adjusted some of the sheets that came in.
in terms of confusion, Jim, I specifically spoke as a.
You absolutely did. I know you did.
I made a request to speak, and I think I specifically said.
Yep.
That what we had voted on as a select board was 2.8%, and that what budget committee members appropriated, I was outside of my control, but that 2.8% was what the limit was in terms of performance for raises. So, the vote ended up being 4-3, as indicated.
Those budgets are going to have to be reopened and revoted.
I think it's pretty clear that if we vote as a,
May I please speak now?
well, you can let me speak because you didn't,
We'll go in order. Jim, you started. Go next.
well, if we collectively vote as a select board, that vote should carry through no matter what. As a representative to the board, you should be representing that vote and nothing else, nothing different.
Letty.
So I would say that even though I disagreed with multiple decisions that this board has made on a personal level, I've always been very careful to represent what the board's wishes were to the budget committee, up to, but not including my vote, because my understanding, based on an email conversation I had with the chair of the budget committee, was that my vote was mine.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I have an NHMA ruling on this.
So-
But NHMA clearly told me that
That's
you,
fine.
you can vote,
Yep.
but the rep needs to understand that if you do not show the message of your board, that can be changed because you're supposed to be doing that. And that's what
So
that's what
this is the
NHMA
first
told me.
I am hearing that the board is unhappy with my performance on the budget committee.
It's not a matter of unhappy, it's a matter of following the procedures that are set up and specifically required on page 14 of the select board book that we have. I think that's the policies and procedures for our board, is that you have to vote with how our board votes because you're representing our board. You're not representing yourself as an individual. I was on budget committee for many years, and I know that if I was representing this board on that committee, I could disagree with something that was voted on. I could say, personally, I'm not in favor of this, but representing my board, this is what the message is, this is what they want to vote for, this is what I'm sticking with. Whether the budget committee agreed with me or not, that's what I had to vote on because that's what the board dictated to me. And I want to make sure we have consistency and we're sticking with that because yes, you can vote as an individual. Problem is, it's kind of like if I vote on this committee one certain way, I do it at the detriment of the elections, right? So I could be subject to not getting voted in next time, right?
So I think we can just short circuit this entire conversation
Mhm.
now that you have let me know that that is what your expectation is. Easy.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're consistent and that we're voting how this board votes. So like those budgets that were voted for 3%, even though you might have disagreed with the 2.8%.
I understand that I made an error based on policy. You've now let
Okay.
me know, and I will
Okay.
do things differently moving forward.
So moving forward, I would anticipate that those budgets will be reopened.
So you will reopen all those budgets and put them at 2.8. And again, some of this, I would have, this is where, again, I would have expected over this issue, there was a lot of confusion on our budget committee. And I know you got up and spoke, but the select board rep knows the budget maybe as well or better than I do. And they were creating a mess by doing what they did. What my committee voted created a mess because they, by appropriating more, as you know, you have and I tried to explain this, the purview of those lines are yours. So you set the raises, not the budget committee. So you go and set a 2.8% raise in this payroll system, and they've now budgeted 3%. All they're doing is creating excess
So-
appropriation.
So-
And
Reopen them and
but I'm
So
going to
we
be.
would have had to
I-
reopen those anyway. If you're talking about
It
tax
wasn't
clerk,
just about.
tax collector, it is clear, this board has made it clear what their expectations are of me. And what I'm also going to bring back to this board from you, both as a department head and from budget committee, is that this board needs to be better at communicating to department heads when we make decisions. Because they were not notified of the 2.8% in any official capacity. Like,
Well,
an email should have gone out to them the next day saying, hey, the board has made a decision. Make sure all of your budgets are in line. If you've already submitted it, resubmit it. That didn't happen. So this board was gonna have to look at that budget again anyway.
I can only speak, you're my rep, and on this issue, I thought you could have helped me with this by not having it down this confusing path of having them vote for 3%, and you voted for 3%.
I did.
I know you did, and even though.
I'm not disagreeing that I did. I'm just not sure how continuing this conversation right now is going to be productive because I acknowledge that I did something that was incorrect by policy. I've now been notified. I'm going to change the way I act in the future. I am sorry.
Okay.
You didn't mention it, but
Okay.
none of you.
I
mentioned-
don't want to get into I've had personal conversations with you on things, and
Yeah.
I'm working really hard at this, and it isn't just that. There's been the communication back to this board. I specifically told you about that when I had asked for the information on the salary, the details, and
Do you feel that's my responsibility as the representative?
you brought it up to this board. Yes, you did.
So you feel like
said
it's
that
I
was.
just want to be clear, it's my responsibility as the budget committee rep from the select board to make sure that you are provided the information that you wish.
Yes. No,
Because-
oh, wait, no, don't turn that, no, that wasn't what I was trying to say. I was saying, when I shared we talked, in fact, this board and the budget committee voted that we wanted all the salary and wage details submitted by the department heads.
Mhm.
I had not received them.
Mhm.
And when you brought that to this board, and you can look at the transcript, I believe it was Andy who said, well, wait a minute, I saw the email, because I wasn't here. I left the meeting when you brought this issue up. I wasn't here. But you made it sound like, I believe the question was from Andy was, well, wait a minute, I think Julie was on vacation, and I think that's why he didn't get the information. And you stated, he had it anyways. He had it all along. And I told you that next day that I did not appreciate that because I did not have that information, and it made it sound like that I was an idiot and I didn't have the information when it was truthful that I had nothing. All I had was the tax clerk and the tax collector. So again, there's been, I believe, some confusion onto the budget committee, and I've worked really hard trying not to let happen on budget committee what has kind of in some places happened here.
So here's what I think,
I've said enough. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. And I want to focus on this, issue, which I think we have. And I do think that there have been some departments that I understand did come to Julie after we had voted 2.8% and had made those changes. I think that's out there in the public domain, but to the extent that you think, Julie, that it isn't out there already to the department heads, then please send them a memo letting them know that that is the decision of this board.
And I've had some department heads ask me if they should be revising them, and I've just said that the board has not voted to reopen budgets, but that I was gonna bring it up tonight as part of our discussion, if you're gonna be reopening budgets to change them, but
Yeah, historically, once we make that recommendation, I know those ones have already gone to the budget committee. They would get opened at the budget committee, voted. They would have to, knowing that we are given the direction of 2.8, and then typically they say, all right, here's the new number. It comes back to us. We reopen those. We revote on them. That's typically the procedure that I'm used to. Again, I stepped off for 2.5 years and stepped back into it. So I'm just trying to make sure we're being consistent and following the rules. My brother used to joke that I was by the book Bob, so I'm following the book.
I guess the general question would be if there is a budget that was approved with a different number from what the select board approves, how would you like to handle it, and whose responsibility is it to tell who and when?
Well, as I said, I think at the next budget committee meeting, those budgets should be reopened and revoted upon. And Julie will get it. I mean, to the extent it isn't already out there in the public domain, which I think it is, Julie will get out a memo and we will, Julie was going to talk about this, we can reopen those budgets where we had previously voted prior to that.
So I think Letty's question was if the budget committee either votes for a less number or a higher number than the select board budget, whose responsibility is it to get it back to us? And in the past, it's always been the information got relayed to the town administrator brought it to us. We would decide if we would reopen our budget and make it the same as the budget committee, because the budget committee number is the number that goes on the warrant.
True.
So,
And historically, we want to be consistent.
correct.
'Cause it's easier to be
Otherwise, we would have to make an amendment at town meeting for the
difference.
difference to
True.
change the budget committee number.
Yeah.
It's never helpful to go in with two different numbers.
All true.
And then there was also a question of, and I don't know if it's gonna happen this year or not, but because the budget committee operates on a bottom line number, and so does the select board, if somewhere in the individual departments, there's a difference, but the bottom line number is the same, how do we handle that?
There shouldn't be that.
The numbers should add up. So if they're putting in for 2.8 and there's remaining monies at the end of the year, those monies get turned back over.
Nope, so
As an
what I'm
offset.
saying is, sorry, Roy, just because yours is tonight, I'm gonna use you as an example. If the select board approves whatever budget that Roy gives us and the budget committee says no and has a different number, the select board could cut somewhere else to leave the bottom line number the same.
We could. Yeah. We could say can you, that would be something we'd go back to the department head and say, sharpen your pencil, what can you do? We try to make sure that we're gonna hopefully come in with an agreement.
No, sorry, maybe my question's not-
She's saying cut highway department,
Oh, no, we wouldn't
so
do that.
fire
We
department.
can do that. We have a bottom line number we can work within. That's,
Yeah, you're basically stealing from Peter to pay Paul. No offense, Paul. So I wouldn't, each department is gonna have their budgets. I expect them throughout the year to stay within their,
no, I'm not talking about throughout the year. I'm talking about for the upcoming budget season.
yeah, I don't know if I would move, I don't know if I would say to the highway, hey, you guys have this much extra in your budget. I would have already cut that, I would hope.
I mean, we're,
I don't think
we're
my questions-
approving
I don't think
individual
my questions
budgets, so.
coming through.
Yeah, we're approving individual budgets, so I'm gonna expect it to be
Never mind. I don't
governed by that way.
think my question's coming through.
Okay.
So other than voting the way that this board votes, is there anything else that or anything else that policy says it's my responsibility as the ex officio member?
Well, it's 22 pages long, but that was one of the,
Specifically, the ex
Specific, the
officio
thing that-
member of the,
that pulled up,
of
yep.
the,
they have to vote in the manner that this board votes as. So if we vote for 2.8, you have to be consistent and say you're voting to 2.8.
am I allowed to speak words on why I feel
You can
differently?
say I disagree with them, but I still have to vote that way. And that's what I did historically. So
Gotcha.
there's plenty of times where I was like, I don't support this, but this is what the board has voted on, and I have to vote as my board has voted. School board rep does the same thing to the budget committee. They should be voting the same way the school is voting.
Just in the future, as a matter of respect, if anyone has an issue with me, saying something either to my face or in an email or shoot me a text, not a week later. Obviously, you can confront me publicly if you want to, but if your intention is to get me to change my erroneous behavior, this is another meeting that's gone by that you could have not had this happen.
I think, to me, it's a matter of, let me look at it, review it. Once I find out there's an issue, I start digging into it, and then we put it on the agenda so I can review it. Because we are public, so we have to have that public discussion.
Absolutely public discussion. I'm just saying, if the goal was to have me vote in line with what the board had decided, you missed an opportunity for me to do that last night at the budget committee meeting.
We hadn't met until today.
Yeah, we didn't
This
meet
was the
last
next
week.
meeting.
You all have my cell phone number. You could have shot me a text or send me a picture of that policy.
Okay,
Noted.
Dexter, you want to follow that?
Come on down, you're next.
Step right up.
We'll be gentle.
No. Yes. On a lighter note, I'm Dexter Swayze, 42 Old Gordon Road, and president of the Brentwood Historical Society. We're in the process of applying for a grant through the 1772 Foundation for repairs to the Grange building. And on the application, one of their stipulations is if, does the organization own the building or a long-term lease? We don't own the building, it's a town-owned building. And the only agreement that was ever done was done 33 years ago. I don't know if you guys got this paper here or not.
April 28th of 1992.
Yeah, 1992, and it's not a lease, but it just says it's an agreement for occupancy and use of that building by the Historical Society. So what I'm asking is if we could formulate, I'm not a lawyer, but paperwork that says, yes, from now on, there'll be a lease. I don't know, and they say long-term, it could be a year, or it could be, this has been going on for 33 years
So
and stuff.
I have one question.
Yep.
So is the Brentwood historical society an independent, like, nonprofit? Because.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
that answers my question, because originally I'm thinking releasing something to ourselves, because I always thought it was part of the town, but it's actually a separate entity?
Right, right.
Okay.
Kind of like the old fire station, right? We didn't own that. We leased that.
So why don't we update, put a new lease together and just say that, you know, the lease is ongoing and until and unless either party
Yeah.
wants to dissolve it.
And I asked Jillian to put one together. I know
Is that this thing
Dexter,
right here?
well, no, there's a little more official looking one
Yeah,
with our,
that's- I can
logo.
pass it around.
where we.
Is there anything wrong with the one that we have? Other than the fact that it's old?
Well, and you weren't sure if it needed to say lease on it.
Right.
Yes,
For the-
yes.
This is
For
a
the grant.
lease for the grant, whereas this is an
Just an
agreement.
It just says that
I
it
think,
allow,
I think it does us right to update it.
Says that the society shall pay rent to the town in the amount of $1 per year, due November 1st of each year. We'll be looking to you for that. First floor of the building to be used as a museum, storage for its artifacts, office space, and a restroom. Access to the museum to be the front doors and interior stairs, or modified accessibility at the rear entry by ramp and/or stair lift as may exist or be installed. The upstairs Grange Hall dining room shall remain intact, an original appearance and function to be maintained as a public gathering area. Any change or nullification of this lease can only be done by majority vote of both the select board and the officers of the Brentwood Historical Society, consisting of the president, secretary, and treasurer, and the agreement lease to be valid for a period of 5 years.
I don't think we should put a end date on it.
Well, you have to put an end date on it.
It should, I would say every 5 years.
It would then violate the rule of perpetuities.
Okay, Mr. Lawyer, thank you.
Are you agreeable with that, being an attorney?
I think given the close relationship between the parties,
As long
the
as we don't charge them
informality is
interest.
okay.
Here's your dollar.
I,
I'll pay the buck.
Laura?
Make sure it's real.
George, did you have a, yeah, please.
just before public comment, the only concern I have about that is stating what the usage of the first floor should be. I agree with the second floor should be not changed, but actually laying out what the Grange has to use the first floor as, I think is a little restrictive, but.
and I just took that because that was the original paperwork or the original agreement. and stuff,
You want to
so.
say the first floor?
And I
should
just-
use
You
and
the
I-
have a
museum?
bathroom now.
And, well, that's, I updated. it.
First floor should be used as,
In accordance with the normal duties or functions of the historical society.
yeah,
That's-
However you want to word it.
That's fine.
Leave it vague enough where it's still concise, but
Mhm.
open to interpretation.
That works for me.
Yep, should be, you gotta hit the button.
So I'm the grant writer for this, and I just want to make, they are saying long-term, and I, as a lawyer, I don't know what you think long-term is, but if they're going to give us $10,000, they want to make sure that you're not going to turn around and sell the building in a year or 5 years. So my only concern is the language of what is a long-term lease? Because I don't actually know what that is.
Well,
But they want some assurance that
yeah.
their 10,000 investors are going to keep the historic
Easily
building in
make it
place.
20 years. I think 5 years is too soon.
I don't know what the grant writer would, or what, not the grant writer, but the grantor would consider long-term. Maybe 5 years is
Is the,
10.
is
I'd
the
be
wording
fine
on
with
that
that.
the
Let's move
same
it
as
to 10.
this?
I would do
Or
10.
is there different wording? Is the wording on that the same as this, or is it different?
I think she used this as the basis.
Choose the second page as a template, basically.
Then I would also recommend changing number 5. The town owns the building. So we don't, if we would like to make changes, we don't have to get approval from the Historical Society. I understand the reason behind this, but in terms of legality, I don't know if we should let a nonprofit have that much say over what the town can do with a building that it owns.
I do think that there should be limitations of what the town can do to the building during the lease period.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are two, yeah, so there are two parties to
Maybe,
the lease.
maybe
so-
separate the nullification from the changes part or something, like,
Well, it just means any amendments, or if you were to seek to nullify the lease, it would require a majority of the boards of both parties. That seems reasonable.
Yeah, I would just change it to 10 years. I really.
Are we comfortable that this building is something we want for 10 years?
Well, we just put a ton of money into it.
We own it forever.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
until we
unless we
well,
don't
unless
want
we,
to.
unless we sell
They
it
don't-
to
right,
the
so we don't
historical
want to.
society. or
But there
something.
should be an option in the lease that within so many days, the lease can be terminated. But I don't see that would ever happen in the next 10 years, but
Yeah, or
it says by agreement of both boards, right?
Mhm.
any changes or nullification.
Right.
Right. And then it says, at the completion of the 5 years, the parties may renew, renegotiate, or extend the agreement by mutual written consent. I mean, you can make that even, more broad to say, if you want to leave it at 10 years, that's fine, or you can just say at the completion of the 5-year term,
Could we-
it'll renew automatically if
Yeah,
nothing else.
I would
is
say
done.
renew automatically would be kind of, then you could leave 5 years and just say it just renews. It renews on a yearly basis until,
Unless,
either party
objects.
objects, yeah.
The only thing is, Dexter, do you think it would help you if you had a 10-year lease versus a 5?
I think the longer one would be advantageous because we can reapply for the grant next year also, and we will, because there are things that are gonna
What
need
difference
to
does
be
it make
done.
to us? Let's just do 10 years.
Could we maybe just remove the word nullification from number 5 then? Just say any changes of this lease can only be done by a majority vote of both the select board and the officers of the Historical Society?
If you want to make it more legal, I would say any amendment to this lease can be done by a majority.
Yes.
Yeah, that would
that's
work.
fine. Calling nullification out made me a little nervous.
So I think before we vote on it, we should have a rewritten document.
Okay. Do that and circulate it around.
The only problem is, aren't you
Oh,
under
does
a
it
time
need to
Oh,
be?
yeah,
could-
he is on a time.
Can we approve,
The edifications.
we can,
Yeah.
can we approve, Julie to sign it for us with the changes?
Select board signatures, but you could sign on behalf with our authority.
We can submit up to December 1st, is when it's due, but if you approve the changes or whatever you want, I'm comfortable in hitting that thing that says, yes, we have a long-term lease and stuff, so.
So the changes will be to 2, that the first floor of the building is to be used for its standard function, that the agreement shall be valid for a period of 10 years, and then also a change to number 5 saying any amendment of this lease can only be done by a majority of both the select board and the historical society. And then if Julie will make those changes, she can sign it, or I can come in and sign it tomorrow just on behalf of
I'll be around.
the select board chair.
I would
Or
make
we
a
can just sign
motion.
it the next meeting. He doesn't need the exact lease, he just needs to know that it's approved.
Oh, is that true?
Yes, I'm comfortable with that,
Okay.
yes.
Fair enough.
So I'll make a motion with the edifications.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
And then throw Julie the $1 so she doesn't charge you interest for being late, because it's not November 1st.
Smart man, Dexter.
You should have actually had 9 more, and then you wouldn't have to pay for this.
Oh, yeah, should I give you 10?
All right. We're moving right along. Our next, we're going to budgets.
Well, Julie told me you had till 7:30, so you got 4 minutes. Let's go.
I think you're up next, Roy, but we'll wait for Letty. to come
No.
back.
She said, yes, we'll be quick. She's like, better be by 7:30. I'm like, okay, we'll see. I'm trying. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. While we're waiting, I'll take this opportunity. I'd like to let the town know that today is Wayne Robinson's 47th wedding anniversary.
Oh, happy anniversary to Wayne.
Yes,
40
47 years. So happy anniversary, guys.
Happy anniversary. Because Diane would kill him. He's a hard worker. He's probably sleeping at this point.
They finished dinner at 7 o'clock.
And then, nice. If he's anything like me, he's sitting on the chair and he's sound asleep.
Right?
So it looks like, Chief, that you are looking at a 2026 budget in total at 1.407350. That's an increase from the 25 budget of $1,256,541 for a change of $150,809, 12%.
I will preface this with, I understand that you don't want to fund the position, but I've always been told not to give up without a fight. So I'm just coming in here and asking you to reconsider not taking away manpower from my budget. So I figured I would give it one more shot ultimately and ask you to reconsider that. And I already know how you feel about it, but again, every chief officer that I've ever spoken to says don't give up without continuously asking for it. So I am asking for you to reconsider not funding the position ultimately.
I'm sorry, which position are you referring to?
The deputy spot, which
Okay.
ultimately I wanted to downgrade to a lieutenant spot. So I understand from last time we spoke that it wasn't really on the table, but I'm just asking for a reconsideration, so I'm doing my due diligence.
How much was that budgeted for the deputy?
It was
the dollar amount?
90,000 for the position, and then when you add pension and all other things, don't quote me, I think it came out to 118.
Well, what's the calculation for the retirement percentage?
I think that's what I'm saying with all of that.
It's 37%, if I remember correctly. So if I take 90,000 and I put 37% on, That's 123.3.
So which line specifically would that be within, Chief?
Salaries?
No, salaries is just a per diem. There's a wages line, after that.
So 111,
Hold on one second. Let me just
Administration.
Make sure. that-
administration?
Yeah, administration is
Okay.
actually 115. No.
220, 220.
220.
220, sorry, 220.
Okay.
So Chief, is the 203,
That would be with the chief and the deputy
Okay.
ultimately. But like I had said, I ultimately wanted to downgrade that deputy spot to a lieutenant so that the town would have an officer covering every shift 24/7 with the per diem. So you would have one experienced officer around the clock on the job.
Right. When we met earlier today, you brought up a good point. Can you make that analogy that you did to me, to this board and to the public is why you feel it's important that there should be a third?
Well, that's the third position. Ultimately, right now, we're working with 2 people, which is the bare minimum. The bare minimum gets me an ambulance out the door. So I can put 2 people on an ambulance, it'll go out the door. If I have a fire, I need 3 people on the truck for it to operate correctly. 2 people can drive the fire truck to the scene, but I need a pump operator that stays with the truck, and then I need 2 people to go in with the hose line and start doing work.
Because you said today, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
But if there's a fire in town, you send out an ambulance and a fire truck.
Yeah, you're supposed to, yes.
So that's your 2 people.
Yep.
They get there on scene. They can't do anything.
They're standing waiting for mutual aid.
They are standing.
Yeah.
Yep, they cannot.
Because,
they cannot go in the building.
and not because of anything other than safety.
Yep.
Because
But as a chief, there are chiefs who are literally being arrested for allowing their guys to do this. They're getting sued by the family members of the members who died, and they're actually being put in jail for this. It is not, you can't do it. It's that simple. You have to have 3 people. And really, you're supposed to have every 2 people that go in the building, you're supposed to have 2 people outside the building, so if something bad happens to the 2 people inside the building, they can go in and go look for them and bring them out. Now, I know that's a huge ask, and mutual aid usually shows up between 8 and 10 minutes, give or take. So then we have that extra, group helping out at that point in time, and that's usually how it works. We put those.
So I just want to, I appreciate that. I just want to make this point that if your house, God forbid, was on fire, and you see a fire truck pull up, but they can't do anything.
If somebody's hanging out a window, we're going to do it anyway. I
Okay.
mean, we're going to save people no matter what. That's what we signed up for, and I can tell you, all my guys will gladly do that without even thinking twice.
I have no doubt in that. But
If it's just for the fire, they know that they have to wait until another truck shows up, and then they have the manpower to do what they need.
and that would be mutual aid if there's only 2 people, which
Yes.
would then be 10, 15 minutes, and now your house is fully engulfed.
Every minute, it spreads, it about doubles nowadays.
Yeah, doubles in size of it.
Yep, just because of the way they build things and the way everything is plastic and petroleum. So that's another thing that we fight with.
So the difficult thing is, and as I explained earlier to you when we met, and I appreciate your time, it's a very difficult thing because obviously we're faced with the taxpayers and the burden that is on them, and the insurance policy of
Yep.
having people on call, ready to go to save lives and to save homes and all that. This is It's not easy. This is the first time I've had to experience this. Very difficult, very difficult.
So this, as I'm understanding this, we're talking about a third lieutenant, but that's independent of what you were talking about earlier with regard to the deputy position, correct?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
what that ultimately does, like I said, it put, the way this town, unfortunately, the way things have fallen for the fire department in the last couple of years and the way that people have been moving out and moving in, it's an elderly dynamic, and most people don't want to be call members on a fire department and do the blue collar dirty work that it is. And then also you have to do EMS. You have to put about 110 hours every year of training for fire to keep up your skill set. And that's documentation that we're supposed to have on each individual, showing that we're keeping them ready to do the job. And then in EMS, they have to recertify every 2 years, and they have to put in a lot of extra hours every 2 years of training. So it's morphed into this complicated thing for people to try to find all this time to do all of this training on top of then going out on all these calls and spending time at the firehouse doing, medical or fire calls in the end. So at this point, we literally have 2 people that live in town that see everybody else is getting paid as a per diem, so they wanted to get paid as a per diem, and we have a per diem full-time department, and that's unfortunately what it is in Brentwood.
Yeah, I
No.
mean, there are full-time employees in addition.
No, that's what I'm saying. We have full-time and part-time members, and that's ultimately, we don't have a combination of call people anymore. We just don't have them ultimately. So, yes.
I just, because I know that when you explained this to me, it was helpful. Per diems are not part-timers in the sense that, like, I would think of part-time in a retail job. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so per diem is complicated. It's more like a temporary position. They give us their availability for the month. And they send it in every month. And they tell you the hours that they can work and the days that they can work. And then we have to put the schedule together ultimately of what that is. And it takes about 30 per diem temporary people to run a 24-hour shift for the whole year. So I have to have 30 of them minimum on staff at all times, which ultimately I have to, and we have to keep track of, and we have to make sure that they're doing all the training that they're supposed to do from our department or their department, and we have to keep track of all those records, and we have to make sure, we have to hold trainings also to make sure that they get any of the trainings that maybe they can't get wherever it is that they work, because some of them maybe don't do it full time. So it's a lot of record keeping, a lot of trainings for fire and EMS that we also have to provide them to make sure that they keep their licenses.
Give me the list of how it works, because I'm not up to par on, I know you have chief, deputy fire chief, lieutenant. What
Yep.
goes underneath lieutenant? Sergeant?
Actually, no, it's chief. You might have an assistant chief in some departments, and then you have a deputy chief. Then
Okay.
you have captains, and then the lieutenants. The lieutenants are the lowest of the officers, not like police.
They don't have
I think
sergeants?
they're higher up in the food chain as a lieutenant, right? So the lieutenant's job is to work on the floor and make sure that everything gets done, like truck checks, ambulance checks, and all those daily things that have to happen, and all the trainings for the crew that is on shift that day. And then they're also in charge of being the one that's in charge, because they're gonna show up at the fire first, unless, I'm closer from wherever I'm coming from. So they start being in charge of the fire. And then when an upper officer shows up, then they're the one that takes the crew in and makes sure that they keep the crew safe to go in and fight the fire.
So there's no sergeants?
No, a lieutenant is
No.
basically a line supervisor.
Yeah, that's a good word. Line supervisor. Yep.
Okay. So it's
Roy,
firefighter, lieutenant, captains,
Yes.
deputy fire chief, assistant chief, chief. That's
Yep.
the order. Okay.
Yes.
do you, right now, you have how many lieutenants?
I have 2.
Okay.
And we have a meeting tonight where I have another employee that I would like to ask you guys to hire after the meetings tonight.
Is
and have a
that
discussion.
third person in this budget already?
We put them in the budget, yes, at the rates that they would get put in, but I didn't name them anything. It's just in.
So my question is, if we were to not fill the deputy position,
Yes.
What's the budget come to?
what's the budget come to?
Well,
Okay,
I
so-
thought where you're going with this, Jim, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yep.
But I think maybe you're, and correct, yeah.
No, I have that
But
number
I
too.
think the 3 lieutenant positions were in the previous budget.
Well, we had 2, and then I tried to hire the third one, and then there were some complications.
It wasn't hired, but it was in the previous budget, though.
Yes, I had put placeholders, but there were zeros.
Can I ask a question? I don't really care what the titles are
Yep.
if they're not administrative.
And,
Like
and
administrative
that was gonna
level.
be my discussion later tonight too, about that particular position, but like I said, that's later. I was hoping that that's where we could go with that particular position.
But correct me if I'm wrong, was there 2 lieutenants in the prior budget or 3?
There's 2, and I had put one in as a placeholder, but it was a 0. It just showed up, but it was a 0.
So we budgeted for 2.
Yeah.
Because we had open positions. We
Right.
approved the hiring of a 3rd person at a lieutenant rate, but it wasn't in the budget. It was because we had unexpended funds.
The market is so competitive right now that everybody is fighting for firefighters, and bigger communities are throwing money at it like we would never be able to compete with, ultimately. So, and they're even taking brand new firefighter EMTs right out of school, and they're throwing big money at them because they need them in the bigger communities. So we shifted to go to lieutenants so we could throw a little bit more money at it and try to get a little bit more experience also in the door at the same time. So that's what happened with those 2 positions, because ultimately you had 3 open positions for a very long time.
Roy, I'm just confused a little bit because in all these pages that you gave us,
Yeah.
there are 3 lieutenants and there are 3
Well, that's
raises in-
like I said, I maybe
But
I
the
did
fourth
call,
one-
maybe I did call him a lieutenant, the one that I'm going to be asking for tonight.
It
and-
just says
and-
Lieutenant 3, but
Yeah.
lieutenant, that person is in
Yep,
the budget, but Lieutenant 4 is at 0.
at 0. Okay, right. So I
So
I
there
might
are-
I should have not put it as LT, but I might have just done that in my mind and then forgot to ultimately just put not.
So we had 4 full-time.
Yeah, we have
firefighter
4 full-time
positions.
spots.
Right.
So I have 3 of them filled. I still have 1 open.
And you're wanting to add another one.
So you have 3 lieutenants right now and
No,
you want a
2.
4th.
I have
Okay,
2 lieutenants right now and 1 full-time firefighter.
Right.
Okay, right.
Okay.
So
So,
not right now. I'm just coming to talk to you guys tonight about hiring somebody, just the 1.
gotcha.
Yeah,
But
so,
my question is,
yep.
if we backed out the deputy,
Yep. So on the bottom, if you look, I think it's on, maybe it's not on your sheet, on the front sheet. It might just be for my notes. I apologize. I learned about the 2.8 thing, and I've been scrambling to try to figure all of that out. So a lot of my notes got a little jumbled. On your front sheet,
no, it doesn't.
okay, so it's not, it's for my notes. If you did that, we're at 12% right now, increase from last year. If you took out that position with all of the things that go along with it, it would take it out 8.28% of my budget.
Is that swapping it out for another lieutenant or
No,
just taking the
that would be
position?
nothing. If you just took that position out, there would be no lieutenant, no,
It drops it to 8?
no, it drops it to 3.72% increase total at that moment in time.
Do you have the number, actually?
I do. It's with all of it, it comes at, with retirement and everything and Medicare, it came out to 118,080.
No. What's your total budget?
Oh, what's the total
It-
budget number?
if you backed out the deputy.
Well, it would be
Well,
118,080, I'm sorry, that was actually good information, so.
Yeah,
118,080 was what you had calculated for
yep,
that.
so that's,
Okay.
so then, I mean, I can do, I can
It's
just,
like 80,000 difference.
can do the math.
Well, I just want to make sure I'm looking at this right too, because I'm seeing on page, the third page from the last,
One
is
with
you
the
got
taken out, right?
5 people is what you have listed. The 5th one is listed as 0, but I have salaries for the 4.
Ye-
It's on this page.
Right, we have slots for four
I ha-
full-time
I have 4
firefighters.
full-time people. One
Okay.
is not hired yet. I am coming forth tonight, so I wanted to add it in there so that, as long as it gets approved, it's already showing in the budget. Because I have, the town voted to give me 4 full-time people. And we've just had an opening that I haven't been able to fill. So I did put the number in there so that you could see the actual budget for next year, because he does want to start.
So that was where the confusion, I think,
Yeah.
is because I asked you if
Sorry.
that person,
That's-
if that third lieutenant that you're coming to us tonight for is in the budget.
Yes,
And it is.
It is.
Well, it is not, yes, and I didn't mean to list it as a lieutenant, but that's what I was saying, that's where I made the mistake, because in my mind, I just needed to see it.
It's in here.
Yeah, yes.
It's in line
Yes.
230,
Okay.
right? It's-
Yes,
no,
but
230 is
for
retired.
for my full-time last spot, that is actually in.
So just for clarification,
Yes,
if we back out the deputy
yep,
and tonight later on, we approve, you're gonna be at 3.72% increase over last year.
yes,
So 118,080 is, I think, what you said, so.
118,080.01, yeah.
So, and then removing that from the 1,407,350 would,
It
goes
c-
to 1,289,270?
Well, there's other calculations you have to do, is you have to back out, because I'm coming up with 123.3.
Oh, okay.
So I think this, if we don't approve that, I think I need a cleaner sheet. Because right now I don't have a clean sheet.
yeah, I actually have some printed out.
Because I want to make sure the FICA's coming
Just-
out, I gotta
yep.
make sure all that's
Can
coming
I
out.
ask a question first?
Yep,
So if we were to take out the deputy but add in the 5th firefighter spot,
I don't have that calculated in any way, shape, or form at this moment in time.
Where-
would it be less than the deputy?
Yes.
In addition to that, what is your target staffing level? Because I know this came up in a
Yep.
previous meeting.
So right now, during the day with the deputy, we actually had 5 on. Without it, now that it's gone, we have 2 on, and then me, which is the 3rd one. So that's where we're at. And I just, so we're clear, I can't be command and run a fire truck. It's not possible to do both. You're gonna make mistakes and you're gonna do bad things. So right now, like I said, we have bare minimum staffing. We have 2 people on 24/7.
And the goal is to
and
have
that's it.
three is the
3
low bar?
Three
Is
is
that-
the
that's what you
minimum,
set,
right?
or
That's the low bar, 3 is the minimum, ultimately, to get a fire truck out the door in the appropriate manner.
Which would be achieved if we go ahead with the lieutenant you're talking about tonight.
No.
Half
No.
achieved, half,
No.
partially,
No,
a step towards it?
that's, it would put, like I said, it would put it would put 1 experienced person in all.
You're
on-
confused, imagine how we feel.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, I just, that whole 2.8, I had to throw together a whole bunch of new notes, and it just really, last second, I just wanted to make sure I had everything. What that does is it puts on 1 experienced officer on every shift, every day, 365 days a year. Because there's a lot of days where I'm just not gonna be able to show up. And ultimately, and not having a deputy, and if I don't have at least a lieutenant on each day, then you might get 2 per diems, and one of them might not be a firefighter, for that matter, because of the way the per diem thing works out. And I might not even be able to get a fire truck out the door on certain days with the per diem schedule the way it is right now. I did have a sheet to show you the per diem and how it works.
Bless you.
Because it's very confusing when you look at it on a piece of paper.
Can I ask a question? And
Yep.
this might, so basically what you're saying is currently we have 2 spots
Yep,
during the day and 2 spots at night.
yep,
And currently they are intended to be 1 full-time person and 1 per diem.
yes.
And if we hire a 5th full-time person, then sometimes that 2nd spot will be also filled with a,
Well, then you would actually have 2 full-time people in that one spot if I
Okay.
got the 4th lieutenant. So then,
Okay.
so then I would need,
so that
that-
gets us closer to the 3 then.
yes. What I am going to do, I'm going to put a warrant article in for a per diem shift to try to get the 3rd person in the station at all times. And then if the town accepts that, it's great. And if they don't, then I need to explain the risk ultimately that they're willing, and they have to be willing to accept that risk. If they're okay with me not being able to guarantee a fire truck out the door at, every day, then so be it.
Would you say that your end goal is to have 3 full-time employees?
I would like,
Or-
I would like to have 2 full-time and 1 per diem.
Okay, so
in the-
having
in the
3
end.
full-time,
But I know
all the
that
time is
right now
not-
these are big asks, so I know I gotta, do it the most appropriate way possible to make it best for the town, and the budget and the fire department. So that I can.
And we appreciate that.
Right, so that I'm trying to mitigate the risk ultimately. It's all ultimately about community risk reduction. And that's all I'm trying to do.
I think it's helpful to, I have a better understanding of where we are now and where you're trying to get to. So I
Yep.
think that is helpful for me.
I did print out a sheet without it.
And just quick math, the difference between a lieutenant and the deputy chief is about $20,000
Yep.
roughly.
So this is the 2.57% is the increase?
That was what it would be in the end, yeah, that would be my new budget without it.
Thank you.
And this is just removing the deputy,
Yep.
but you're still having the 4 officers that you have,
Well, 4 full-time, yes,
4 full-timers.
yeah, yep. Yes, technically, as
But
long
the
as you get.
officers are also firefighters.
Yes, no, yeah, they're absolutely, they are fire EMS personnel. They just make sure everything gets done. I can tell them, hey, this is what we need to accomplish today, and they make sure it happens.
So the only thing in this new is removing the deputy.
Yes. We went through the budget line by line again, looked at everything, and made sure that, ultimately, we figured out what needed to get changed and what needed to stay the same. And we double checked everything of, there are some minor increases on certain lines. It's just, I mean, the apparatus is aging. Tires alone have gone up 10 to 20%. So, I mean, every time I need a new tire on a fire truck, I'm spending $400, $500, $600 per tire. We just had to buy, a tire for the ambulance, and it was, $275 for 1 tire.
Oh, that's cheap.
Eh.
My tires are like $400.
I just
Yeah.
came back from doing an appraisal, and the company owner said he had to pay $1,200 per tire.
Yeah, for the
Just to
bigger
give you an-
trucks,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, depending on the
Yep.
tire.
Yep.
I mean, just on, because the engines are aging ultimately. Engine 1 alone this year so far, and I'm saying so far, because we've spent $13,904 in maintenance and repair on that truck so far this year alone. Engine 2, about $5,000. So everything has been going up ultimately, unfortunately, and especially because of the tariffs and everything, just because all these parts, they come from not this country. So it costs a lot of money from wherever they're coming from.
How old is engine 1 and engine 2?
Engine 2 is a 2015,
Okay.
and engine 1 is a 2009 or 10. So, a lot of talk about this and a lot of different varying opinions. NFPA's recommendation is 20 years frontline on an engine, and then you can use it backline for another 5 to 10, depending on how much rehab you do on it. A lot of smaller departments will rehab their engine at about 10, 12 years, and spend about 100,000 to do that, and then they'll keep it for 25 or so years. So it's ultimately right now, engine 1 is definitely more the backline piece. Engine 2 we use more as a frontline piece. And now that we got the tanker, that takes the weight off of engine 1 because we use that as the tanker and the first line to a fire or any fire call. Now we can balance that out a little bit better now that we have the tanker truck.
And how old's the tanker truck?
We literally just got it. It's 2025.
And so
Or-
that's, you just call that tanker 1?
Yeah, tanker 3.
Tanker 3.
Sorry.
Tanker 3?
Yep.
Okay.
Roy, going back to wages.
Yep.
Why is there such a 47% increase for per diem wages? What's going on?
From where? This year to last?
111?
Yeah,
No,
one-
110. Can we
110?
change,
110.
actually, Julie, can we change
Oh,
that
okay.
to say
yeah, I'm sorry.
wages part-time or something?
It's,
What-
yeah,
just
well,
not
right. I
salaries.
just put it under salaries because
I
that's
know.
that's their line,
I-
ultimately.
Just
Yeah, it's a
confusing.
change of 105 grand.
Well,
Yeah.
when we got a lot of these per diems, a lot of them were still getting certified on all their certifications, and they were brought in newer and uncertified on a lot of things. So ultimately, as they move along and they get all their certifications and become more user-friendly to us, ultimately, because they have all their fire certs and all their EMS certs, and then they become pump operators and drivers. We ultimately have pay scale where they know that, hey, I'm going to move up to this if I become an AEMT, an advanced EMT, instead of an EMT. And then, you know, some of them have gotten their paramedic as per diems, so I have to pay them another, I have to pay them more money for that ultimately because that's a lot more responsibility being a paramedic.
So does that make up the full 47%?
Does this also include the new position?
Well, this includes the night coverage also that was added in with the, excuse me, sorry, I should have thought of telling you that first. Originally, this line only had 12 hours a day coverage, and then you guys approved the 12 hours of night coverage, which came out to $98,000. We have actually managed to cut some of that out to help the town. I know we differ on this, but when I originally came in, I sat here with Joe because he wanted to be in the meeting before I was even hired. And the board agreed to cover that 98, and they were gonna find the money for it. And now there's some talk about, hey, no, we never said that.
So you have that $98,000 in this?
In this, yes.
That's part of the 105.
And I've actually, like I said, I've actually been able to bring that down a little bit. You're only covering actually, I think about 32,000 of it now.
That's why there's a 47% increase in that line.
Yeah,
A lot of it is the
Night coverage.
night.
the night coverage, right. So that we have 2 people on 24/7. Sorry, I should have said that right out of the gate.
Yeah, because, you know, again, well,
Yep.
as you know,
No,
it
no.
had been my impression that that was
Obviously, yep.
something that had been part of the budget.
Yeah, there was no way honestly, there would be no way that I could swallow that completely. I mean, that's a lot. So,
Can I say something? You guys have the supporting pages that
on the backside.
that feed into that front page.
Yeah, sorry, I should have probably said that. All the
So-
pages behind it feed all to the front pages.
There's automatic formulas and stuff that feed the budget that's up front. Line 110, they're kind of in a row. So you have the budget, then you have the supporting basic data. And then the first thing is line 110. part-time call salaries. The night shifts are there. And the total cost is 138,000 for the whole year. But the reason we told you the increase is 98 is because you subtract the, what was it called? The stipend that we used to
Stipend,
pay.
yep.
So in last year's budget, we had a stipend for people to work nights. We were not getting any people to work for that stipend because surrounding towns are all paying for night. So it was we were getting less and less coverage. That's why when they came at the beginning of the year and they asked, we have the money in this year's budget, it will cost this much, but it's really necessary now. Like he said, there's no longer call department. So if you subtract the stipend, which I can't calculate right now, but it was roughly minus 40,000 or something like that.
138 minus 98 would be about 40.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's where that comes from.
So ultimately, we added 4,368 hours of coverage to the town. That's what it comes out to, the extra 12 hours at night.
Per annum.
Huh?
Per annum, per year.
Per year, yes.
And the first budget that shows the whole increase, if we kept the deputy, if you simply take that second page that he distributed to you, that shows only the 2-point-something increase.
Mhm.
If you flip through all the supporting documents, you can see that we did use the correct retirement rate, which this year is the same throughout the whole year. Sometimes it's split, January, June, December, but now it's the same. On the second page of that whole
page is
packet,
that on?
yes, second page, right there. That one right there.
Okay.
So it's, I think I heard you say a higher number earlier, that's why I didn't.
37%?
Yeah, it's only 29.
29.15
Yes.
is the percentage you guys
Yes.
pay for towards retirement.
So then, as you can imagine, that number would go down and it wouldn't be that 118.
Well, it's 29.15 plus the 6.2 plus the 1.45, because I add it all together.
No, 6.2 does not go towards full-timers.
It goes towards, I gotta pay FICA and I gotta pay Medicare, right?
No.
Not for
No.
full-timers.
Oh, because their pension plan
Yeah.
is,
Yep.
So it's the retirement and FICA. And all that is calculated. So first you figure out the salaries and the wages, which, should be backwards, as we said. And then the code work, mine, and then the administration. Then you add overtime. And then all those numbers feed into retirement.
so I'm paying 35.35%. Oh, plus Medicare.
So so you can either add them that way or,
So 30.6%.
Speaking
sort of,
Speaking of overtime, what? Necessarily shift subjects on you here, but
Yep.
that also is up around 15%.
yeah,
overtime.
we can look at that sheet. I just wanted to finish my train of thought.
Sorry.
I will remember that question.
Okay, yep.
So-
My bad.
Then you calculate overtime, and then the next sheet is your retirement. Everything that's in the light blue just feeds from the previous pages. So your wages and the holiday pay, the overtime, any turnover and whatever we added there. And then as you can see, for each one, we calculated at the correct retirement rate. So then you get your retirement total. And then all of that at the end feeds into FICA, which is the very last page. And you can see that some of the lines have 0 FICA and some have the 6.2, depending on the classification of the employee. So, and this is why that second sheet that shows you the numbers without deputy has a second page.
So I appreciate all the hard work you guys have done. I really do. And I'd like to make a motion to approve the second sheet that you sent us, which is without filling the deputy position at the 2.57%.
Do you want to answer Paul's
Yes,
questions first and all that? I
Yeah,
think
I
he still
appreciate
had a
that. Thank you.
question.
Yeah, there was,
So-
so 74,000 in overtime
Yeah,
for
so-
26 budget.
So that's with the added increases in everybody's rate of the raise or whatever, the 2.8 ultimately in the end. When you add that up to all the full-timers getting that extra and you add that into the per diems also, we have to pay per diems if they do work 40 hours, we have to pay them overtime. So we have to keep that in mind, that if we have a large incident like that big brush fire that we had, and a lot of them are going to be working more than 40 hours on something like that, we have to be able to pay them the overtime rate in their salary.
Also, if you remember last year, everybody's budgets were really high, and we were asked after the budget was approved by this board and by, well, the previous board and by budget committee, to further cut it before we brought it to the public. We were asked to bring it down, I believe it was 40,000 or maybe something like that. And I don't know right now off the top of my head, but I know one of the lines that we did cut was overtime. So
It looks like the overtime through November 5th is about 28,000. So now we're back up to close to almost 75.
We have a huge training coming up that all full-timers are going to go to, because I'm requiring them to do it. Because it has to do with command and control, and I need them to know this stuff. So none of them are working on the weekend that we're doing this. So they're all ultimately going to be paid overtime to come to do the training, because I need them to do this training.
How often is it, how much is that gonna cost you?
We usually, I try to do 2 large trainings a year for my full-timers to get them things that they really need to learn. Because that's really all I can afford in my training budget.
Have they done one weekend so far this year?
We did a pump training, just one day, one full Saturday, and all of them came in and did the pump training with a company that we bring in that they challenge their skill set. They figure out where they are in their skill set, and then they work with them and challenge them, teach them how to become better pump operators. And they throw all kinds of weird things that could happen on the fire ground to you, so that they have to react and think about it. So we just did that one. And then we have this other one coming up on the 26th of November.
And for the year so far, you guys have spent 44% of that budget.
Yep.
So there's
Still 56% remaining.
True.
There's additional reasons why we haven't spent some of it. So if you have only 2 or 3 full-timers, they can't really always cover everything. They can't cover each other. They can't cover extra spots. They can only do so much, because they're spreading their responsibilities and covering for the 2 people that are not there. So they have to do more training of members, everything else, and it's just too much, and they can't pick up all those shifts that they normally could. So because of that, because they physically have been doing the work of what we need 4 lieutenants for, and because we also try to be conservative at the beginning of the year, if we can cover the full-timer open shift, not with another full-timer, that would have to do it at overtime, but with 2 per diems, we have done that. We didn't know what our budget would look like. We asked you for the night coverage, which was going to make our budget much tighter. We didn't want to overspend. So instead of allowing the full-timers to take as many shifts as they could to cover for the missing people, we went with per diems. That's another reason that it's low now, but if you budget for it properly, we will get to that number. It's been low because we were constantly missing somebody.
And November and December become tight because a lot of the per diems don't want to work because it's the holidays. So they don't.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, is your busy time.
Yes. So the problem that we run into in summer months, per diems don't want to work because they all want to go do, stuff with their family and spend time out in the sun. And then late November all the way through December, a lot of them don't give us a whole lot of availability. So we also have to spend overtime money forcing full-timers to ultimately fill the shift so that we have a second person in that slot.
But intuitively, one would think that if we're going to make another hire of a lieutenant,
Yep.
That would result in less overtime because we have now
Could.
more labor.
Good.
And I'm gonna pick on some low-hanging fruit real quick to give you other stuff to think about. I'm probably not prepared to vote on this budget right now because I think it still needs to be tweaked a little more. But I see that you had $7,000, for example, in heating oil and gas, right?
Yep.
You spent $4,833, but you're
that-
asking for a 42.86% increase to go to $10,000 from $7,000.
That was
Explain
the-
to me why.
That was the halfway point, 48. And now we have, I keep on the, Plastow ALS is in the building, so we have 2 extra people in the building at all times, which is increasing the use of oil and heat and water and things like that. So we
Why
get,
is
we get,
Plastow in our,
but they pay the town rent.
Bob doesn't know.
Huh?
I
Bob
don't have
doesn't
a
know.
clue about Plastow.
Oh, sorry.
Clue me in about Plastow.
Okay, so
while
they
you're
used to
here.
be Exeter ALS. That you remember them, right?
Yeah.
Exeter, yeah, okay, so Exeter ALS was basically told that they're not gonna be anymore. So this whole region had based their fire services off of Exeter ALS being around and not having to hire so many medics. So when that happened, the AG actually had to step in because they were literally gonna just shut it down within 2 weeks, and all the fire departments just kind of like, whoa, this is going to be bad for the whole community of Rockingham. And so they all got together, this region, and they talked it out, and Plastow put it together that they got money for a whole year and to buy all new vehicles and to hire people to put it. It's called Plastow ALS because they couldn't call it anything else because then they would have had to start a company from scratch to be able to pay them. So it was easier for them just to use their name and do it through their department. But what happened was they needed to be centrally located, and Brentwood was ultimately the spot that Seacoast Chiefs thought would be very good because we had some room and we had extra bedrooms upstairs. So they made an agreement that they would live in our station and respond to all the 18 communities still.
Which for us gives us virtually,
Yeah.
immediate response time
No.
for ALS.
No, well, if
No.
they're available, they are busy.
Well,
But
this gets me into
It's just they
sharing the
also pay
cost.
us.
yeah,
Yeah,
they do.
How do they share the cost
do. They
with
pay
me?
rent. They pay rent.
They pay rent. Okay.
Yes, but I don't get it. It goes to the general fund, as far as I understand. It was right before I started, all this was ironed out. I
Actually, how
wasn't part
much
of it.
is that? Because that income doesn't
Yeah.
show here anywhere.
Well, they do pay rent, I know that. But I mean, the bonus is,
relatively modest.
yeah, there's a huge bonus to this because those guys love to train and they're always training. So they're always asking us and our people if they want to train. And they're giving our people free ALS training, which is a huge bonus.
And they live there?
Yeah, 24/7.
I see them pass by my place 6 times, if not more,
Yep.
per day.
Is
They
there
are
gonna-
so busy.
Is
Yeah.
there going to be a cost, though, that is going, because I know, like, when we were talking about this a year ago, they were talking about when it was renewed, there was going to be some sort of levy amongst the towns, and I don't know that we
He would-
have accounted for that.
He was able to find, I can never say this word correctly, so I'm going to just apologize now, philanthropy,
Philanthropy.
money.
Yep.
He was able to find that for another year, and he is currently working really diligently. He's very good at this, for the next 3 to 5. So they
You mean
increase.
Plastow?
Yeah, Plastow, the chief there is the
Yeah.
one that ultimately runs the, you know, but then he reports to all the rest of the communities.
And
So
so
there's
all
not gonna-
they pay those staff and they pay for their vehicles
Yep.
and everything else.
And we are
So
allowed,
there's
right
no
now.
anticipated levy, is what you're saying?
Yes, we
Okay.
pay them, it was $87 per call. If they went on the call and we transported. Now, then we get to transport at a higher rate where we can charge a lot more money. And they still only charge us that money. So they don't take any of that extra money that we get to charge for the transport at an ALS level. There is talk about changing that later. They did this up it to $125 from $87, but it was so minimal, it was almost like, really?
We're still making.
Yeah, we're making lots of money off of each call that they go on if they go with us. So,
Okay.
sorry, I didn't know that you didn't know about it.
No, and I'm gonna say, why aren't they paying my gas?
Yeah,
Why
they are.
aren't paying my
No,
heat?
they do pay, they do pay rent. And I had that in my notes to let you know that some of these costs went up, but we also do get rent from them, so.
Okay.
Because like maintenance supplies too, like toilet paper, paper towels, all that stuff, I'm using more of.
Tell them to bring their own toilet paper.
Can they pump out the septic too? Or
Yeah. Yep.
your poop, take it with you. All right, well, that explains that. I was hoping for some cutting there. I still would like to see a little more shaved off of this thing. I was hoping to come down a little bit more.
Can we come down on the overtime?
If you guys want to take overtime money away and, you know, I mean, it's just at the end of the year, next year, when we really have it figured out, if I don't have the money, then I have to tell people that they can't show up for calls. I mean, that's the only danger with not, I understand you don't like padding, but that's,
Or you'd have to come and ask us.
or I'd have to come and ask you for more money, right? But if I have some major event, because that's when I've worked places where that's happened. They're like, hey, there's no more overtime for the next 2 months. And that's the chief just comes out and tells everybody, no more overtime, and you can't work late.
I'm just thinking, Chief, that we have, you know, an extra person who we're talking about hiring later. And,
Yep.
you know, we're in a fairly decent position, it would seem, you know, so that, you know, I mean, we're not talking about big money there,
We'd
Bob.
be
but
managing the
maybe-
overtime. I mean, that's 10 grand, right? So
Yep.
it's difference of $10,000, $9,680.
10
On a
grand.
$1.2 million budget, we're now like really splitting hairs.
Well, you know, it was, he's already cut off, he's already cut off a considerable amount by dropping off the deputy, so.
My point earlier
Mhm.
was that we've asked our department heads to come in under 4%. With removing the deputy, we're at 2.57
On one of our largest budgets.
on one of our largest budgets. I am thrilled, to be honest, that we're looking at a budget like this. And I think that when you do weigh safety and what these guys and women go through, I'm okay with approving this budget at 1.288790.
Second. A $32,249 increase.
Any further discussion?
I would have liked to know how much it would have cost to put the 5th full-timer back in to replace the deputy chief position, but
Trying to go down, Betty, not up.
About $80,000.
Yeah, about that.
I understand we're trying to go down, not up, but also, did you hear how many more people we need to get over the next some number of years to have like a functional?
Move the question?
I am in the middle of speaking, like,
Oh, I thought you were done.
no.
Okay, go ahead.
What about adding another per diem slot at least?
I think we should stay at the 1288790. And then maybe next year look at warrant articles. He said he's looking at another warrant article for more
Yeah.
per diem hours this year.
Yep.
So you were gonna see that later.
Could you, Chief, maybe when you come back for that warrant article, could you come up with like a schedule over the next, I don't know, 5, 6 years for how you're gonna get us to that staffing level? Kind of what the incremental increases are gonna be?
I can do a study on it, yeah, and put it together.
That would be great, thank you.
Yep.
There's a motion and a second.
Move the question.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Nay,
What's your nay?
it's a nay. I
Ah.
think it should be cut some more.
Oh, okay. That, I
And
didn't,
I also want the numbers reconciled. I don't
Okay.
trust numbers before I can look
I-
at them, and I haven't done the math.
I
So I don't trust math.
I didn't,
No, I don't trust that until I go through it and look at it.
okay.
Because I've seen enough fuzzy math before where
I-
it makes me twitch, so I want time to review it, document it, and make sure, and I'm not comfortable with it. I also wanted it to come in, and I think I voiced that before. I wanted to see it come in a little bit lower.
So that's the 12887. That's the, this other sheet.
Yes.
I was hoping for a level funding, minimally.
Well, you actually said the other day you wanted it less.
I did, I wanted 1 million, but if they came in level, I probably would have smiled. I'm not smiling.
Thank you, guys.
All right, next up is general government.
Emails?
Handouts for that. I think I sent it out.
You did. It's in your, was in your email.
It's in the email?
Email, but not handout.
Did you see how much did you see how much we spend on office supplies?
I haven't, do you want another copy? Anybody else want another copy?
Can you just send it down? Oh, my back.
Sorry, sick man. Is this a negative 25%?
Yes.
Well, hot damn.
You just made Bob smile.
Made me smile.
And it may be able to be reduced more. I put something in for grant writer. I didn't know if we had intentions of getting a new one. If not, we can cut that line some more.
I mean, yeah, because this year we budgeted for 40,000 and we've only spent $5,152, right? No, this year we spent 8,512.
Right.
Last year we did.
Because I guess our grant writer left.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if the board intends to get a replacement at some point. I just put that in there in case we do.
Did you respond to my email? I'm just trying to figure out what those questions were.
Oh, probably not.
Okay.
It's been a little crazy.
No, that's okay. I'll just pull it up so that I can ask them again here.
You have town communications at 20,000, but that's new?
It's the
That's-
newsletter.
That's the newsletter.
Oh, okay.
Do you
And
know
last
what
year it
line
wasn't
that's
in it?
hitting?
Yeah, I had Jillian look into that today.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. So the newsletter is 17,250?
So that can be cut. Okay, 17,250.
Yeah, Jim Hasher, Editor-in-Chief, Brentwood Newsletter. We were funded for $17,250 in 2025. We're estimating with the December issue that will come in at $17,016, roughly $200 more. I have a forecast of next year, circulation, how many copies, the printing increases. The total forecast we have for next year is $18,130, but we've heard loud and clear that the select board, we're trying to get us to come in at an even budget. And so we will request $17,250 again. And that difference, we will make up that difference with donations or on our own. So yeah, $17,250. And I believe the difference, the 20,000 was something for budget committee to have put stuff together, so.
Yeah, yes. So if I remember correctly, last year we wanted to have more than just the newsletter. I think because we thought there might have been more movement on the the police building, which now there is going to be, and so being able to send out people information about that could help get more people involved. But my question was, why is that line 0?
Yeah, I asked Jillian today to make the correction, so this was before any.
Do you know which line that was in?
I think I have it on my desk. I
Okay.
can look. You want me to go look?
No, I just was wondering which other line in the budget is gonna go down by $15,000 now.
Do you still do microfilm? Or can we just delete that? I'm shocked that there's still microfilm, but I don't even know if there's any readers that read microfilm anymore.
I'm happy to take that out.
I mean, it's only $1, but it's still kind of, wow, we got microfilm.
A buck's a buck.
$1's a buck.
Ask Dexter. See?
Yeah, he just took my dollar. So, yeah, I mean, if we can remove that, I mean, that still brings everything down to 81,075. If you remove the extra money that they just took off from going from 20,000 to 17,250.
But do we want to leave the extra in there for the purpose that they had extra in there this year? In case BudCom or somebody wants to,
Send out a supplemental. Can always ask the newsletter if they'll send out the stuff for us. So you're not duplicating efforts.
The newsletter doesn't go out to every address in
It
town.
only goes out to the people that request it.
I also reduced the expenditure offset line item and cut it in half.
Okay. What's the miscellaneous contracts? Do we know what that is? $1,000 even that we spent this year?
Well, do we want to have a discussion about this grant writer? Because that's a big ticket item of 27 or 20,000.
20,000.
Yeah.
And this year they budgeted for 40,000. That's huge.
Well, it was a pretty regular position
Oh,
when
okay.
we built this budget. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea for the town to have somebody who wrote grants, but we don't have anyone in the works, so I think we could cut this.
And I'm not sure what's out there for grants right now with the current administration.
I don't know.
Well, Dexter's getting a grant.
Well, I know,
Well, I'm just saying, there are still some.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean, we
private
got-
foundation grants.
Sure.
we got a grant for Conservation Commission to help fund some of the expenses on the recent purchase, so I
And,
mean,
I think didn't Planning Board get a grant?
Planning Board got a grant, but a lot of those are done by the separate board, so I just, I don't know that we need that position in general
Got it,
government.
okay. I didn't see it, so I.
Yeah, because I think
trust.
conservation has something in there for grant writing too, so, in their budget, if
Yeah.
I remember correctly.
Yeah. And
I
Anna,
think-
Anna Boudreau, the expensive Anna Boudreau, helps with that as well.
Right.
Getting back to that.
Well, we can kill microfilm records for $1. You saved $1.
Might be making a comeback.
What's this
Kidding.
travel mileage line? Doesn't look like we use it very much.
For
Concord and
employees
stuff like
traveling
that.
to, right, New Hampshire Municipal or other
Training.
training.
Is the $1,000 based on a target number of miles or anything, or is it just a placeholder? Because
I
it looks
just-
like we could cut that down a little bit based on actuals this year.
I know there's some more expenses that have recently
Bless
been
you.
submitted.
Okay.
And there could be some more
What's vol appreciation?
volunteer
Volunteer.
appreciation.
Oh, okay.
So can we work our way down instead of bouncing all over the place? Do we want to cut grant writer?
I would vote yes.
I would say, can we cut 5,000 out of that? You think that would be good?
I would just,
Oh, I would cut it to 5.
You would cut it to 5?
yep.
They spent this year, though, the 8,512.
That was-
Is that all grant writer?
Yeah, I'm wondering about that as well.
I can't, BMSI won't let me in at the moment, so I can't check all of those.
Yeah, I'm thinking that may not have all been grant writing.
Okay.
But we did have one for a while, right? I
Yes.
believe.
We
Very
did,
short,
but that, so
Very short.
this is just really quickly a plug. Hello. This is just a
I have
real
a
quick
general
plug
election
for
provided
putting
to-
charges on the actual lines that they belong on. Because I do think there was something else in there that was not grant writer.
I make a motion, we change grant writer to $5,000.
Second that.
All
Aye.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So that cuts 15 out. Would you leave the town communication at 20,000, or would you cut that down to 17,250?
I make a motion, we change that to 18,000.
18,000 even?
Yeah,
Second.
just, there's a little buffer in there
Yeah.
if we need it.
Didn't he say that it was gonna go up to 18,000?
No,
For
17,250 is what they were
That's
gonna
what-
do.
They're
That's the
expecting it
request.
to go up, but they were hoping to
Oh,
be able to
okay.
get donations.
Do we know how much it
Advertisements.
costs to send a postcard out to every house or to every address in town?
A lot.
Well, we have a bulk rate mailer.
This is why I was curious. I figure between tax cap and possibly municipal building, we might want to get people a little more involved. I know the reval was upsetting for some people. If we know approximately how much it costs to send out a postcard to every address, just budgeting to be able to do that twice. Or not.
I think 18 sounds reasonable to me.
I think if you drop it down and you take the 15,000 off, plus that 2,000, plus the $1 for the microfilm that we don't ever use, it's gonna, the new budget would be 66,825 for this, and I would be fine with that. Would make a motion for that. 66,825,
I'll second that.
which is a significant reduction.
Thank you,
Can you just
Brentwood
review
newsletter.
where you're cutting?
So you're cutting
grant to
15,000
five?
off of grant writer, so you're bringing that down to 5. You're cutting $2,000 off of, you're going from 20,000 to 18,000. So that's 2,000
Did
cut.
we get a vote on that?
Well, we didn't.
We
Then
gotta-
it became an all-inclusive.
I'm just doing
thing.
all-inclusive.
Okay,
Yeah.
And then I'm doing $1, getting rid of the microfilms.
okay.
And then that brings me to 66,825,
Mhm.
and that's what I made a motion on.
We're
I'm
okay
fine with that.
Okay.
I'll second that,
All right.
unless, but
He'll restate the second.
Yep. Any further? Okay, all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
No. Can we remove the last line in this budget?
Yep.
Great. I don't even know why it's there if there's no charges in it.
Should we be removing the last 2 lines? Because what's the expenditure offset? It's the same as the other one. There's duplication. The 910 and the 900.
That's a
Nine,
different
13.
thing. I don't know.
If it's a 0 line, it
It
should
should be
not be
removed.
there.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I don't know what it's for, but it's the same wording as the one right above
I
it.
think it wouldn't be a bad idea to keep track of when we take money out of that line to spend elsewhere. And so that would be one way to keep track of it, would be to move it from one offset line to another. But-
Taking it out of 900 and putting it in 910, is that?
Yeah,
correct?
like basically if we're gonna say, all right, we have this $10,000 to use kind of wherever we want to as needed, instead of just sticking it in whatever budget has money, say, all right, we're gonna overspend this line over here, but we're gonna say that it's unavailable out of the offset line. I don't know how else to explain
I'm not sure how you would do that,
that. Okay,
because it would come out of 2 different budgets, so it would look like,
Because one's 900 and one's 910 line item.
no, she's saying if,
Oh, yeah, if we're paying, taking
Like-
from this budget and putting it somewhere else.
no, but we're not putting it anywhere, we're just moving it.
just tracking it.
Just tracking it. I think if for whatever reason, we can't just track it in the line where the actual expense is, we have to keep track of it somewhere. The grant writer is a perfect example. We didn't spend $8,000 in grants this year. There's just other charges that are sitting in there because that's where their money was.
So they just placeholdered it there.
Yep.
Yeah. But that means that unless you know that, it's gonna look like we spent the money there. Kind of like.
Right, but if you, I mean, ultimately, I think, and maybe Julie can correct me, but if I was taking money out of grant writers, I'm probably putting an entry in there of what I did, right? Are you putting
Well,
an
there's a
entry in there?
description line in there.
Description that you're saying, it's like my checkbook. I
She
put
just
it,
And-
can't get into it right now. to
yeah,
see.
right.
Yeah,
So then it would tell you, well,
And
all that money wasn't
previous
for
wasn't done
grants,
that
it was
way.
for,
Previous was definitely not done that way.
That's, yeah.
yeah, we need to reconcile that, but going forward, I think we will.
I don't think
Seems like-
that's a now conversation.
Yeah,
though.
yeah, yeah.
It should, probably should be cleaned up.
Yep.
Deleted.
But we have the budget, so next we
Moving
get.
on.
do you want to hand, if, whoever wants a government buildings?
I'll take one. Thank you. Oh, you didn't give us a percentage.
I didn't, I'm sorry. It's probably on the original one.
Oh, to cut.
I can
so-
see if it,
I know, that's,
I
I'm
can
like,
see if it'll let me bring that up.
So,
I moved, a custodian. That's a contract, it's not a wage, so I moved it down to I put in a new line for
Oh, okay.
custodial services
that makes sense.
and moved it down there.
The question that I asked you is before we adjust, because basically you made all these adjustments based on what the system said actual was, which I think totally makes sense. Have you confirmed that all of the charges on all of these lines are where they belong?
I've identified that a lot of adjustments need to be made. They have not been made yet.
Okay. I am hesitant to make large sweeping budget changes without having those changes at least identified and quantified, if not done.
I mean, I have quantified them. I just haven't had time to go into BMSI and done the journal entry. Was a 4.45% decrease.
now, what's the electrical, which seems like really, we spent 10,000 so far for the year, right? What's this date of, as of today? So.
Yeah.
We budgeted 23, we spent 10,006 so far, and you're budgeting for 20,000. Are we still, does this calculate the offset from the
I
solar
don't
or
know.
no?
So that's an example of like, we spent 22 last year total. What changed between last year and this year that those numbers are so different?
And I don't know if maybe there's a bill out there that's going to be paid shortly, not that that would make up a huge difference of that. But I can look at that more closely.
And we own the solar system now, right?
But the solar system, we get
revenue, right?
credit.
Right,
Credit
So we still pay for electricity, but we get a,
right.
on the back
but
end.
it goes back to
Okay.
general fund, so you don't, you still have to budget for it.
And I think you're trying to reconcile that too with rec and everything else, right? So that's still kind of in limbo.
So I guess my question again would be, I think it totally makes sense to adjust based on actuals, but are this year's actuals off or were last year's actuals off?
Yeah, I wish I could get into BMSI right now.
Sorry.
I can't.
Do we want to table this budget? Or, I mean, we're talking $1,000. Actually,
it's a-
we're talking like $900, $700, $800.
Yeah, I mean, we're also, well, it's about a $4,000 decrease, so I thought it looked pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there's just certain things that I look at and I go, huh, okay, what's
I mean,
that?
if people have questions, we can table it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's fine.
And it sounds like Letty is probably looking for more definitive of what we actually have right now, right?
What we actually spent.
What we actually
Yeah,
spent.
just like, yeah,
Hit the center.
why are some of these lines
No,
the way they are? Because they're so far off from what last year was, last year versus this year. So clearly one of them was maybe not accurate, which is fine. But it would be good to hopefully know that this year is the accurate one if we're gonna base everything off of it.
Table it. I make a motion to table it.
Second,
And you'll bring back more information next
Mhm.
time, so we can deal with it.
okay.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Insurance.
Joy.
Jim, I'm gonna ask you to come up.
It's the other one.
Oh, no, this is just insurance,
Oh,
property
okay.
liability.
I was gonna
This
say,
is,
sweet.
we
Jim,
had
get up
tabled
here.
this before to look into higher deductibles.
Mm-mm, no.
Yes.
I wanted, oh,
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
That was one of the things we were
Okay.
looking at.
that wasn't what my question was, but that was a question.
And
And they don't offer any other. That's it.
take it or leave it. That's all through Primex, right?
Yes.
Which I think I told everyone I have to abstain off of this thing anyway. Since the company I work for insures.
Yes, you made yourself very clear.
will
The
not
question
vote
that
on
I had was,
Crystal.
we've had claims this year. Why is the deductible line still at 0?
I know.
I do not know.
Okay.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
I know that we've hit a couple deer, or a couple deer hit us. We've had claims, so why is the deductible line
Unused.
unused?
I guess the question would be whether or not the deductible applied under those circumstances. I mean, sometimes if you have a,
Sometimes comprehensive,
Ask
you
the
don't
deer.
have a
Comprehensive is-
deductible on
right.
comprehensive.
Maybe the deer covered the deductible.
No, usually what happens is sometimes, like, I know on my insurance policy, my auto, I don't have a deductible on.
on the comprehensive.
I hit a
you
deer
do on
and-
the collision.
Or a deer hit me and I didn't have any, there was no.
It's like I know,
Act of
for
God.
example, like New Hampshire doesn't have glass coverage like Mass. So typically what a lot of carriers will do is they'll put 0% on glass coverage also, which is comprehensive, and therefore you have no deductible on comprehensive. Specifically because you might have to get a windshield that could be $250. So instead of hitting people with that, most brokers or agents will put your deductible for comprehensive at 0. So that way, because the most things that they're going to replace, especially idiots like me that get Jeep Wranglers over and over again, they're square boxes, the windshields break all the time, so they put a $0 deductible. So I would say you probably have that.
Drive a Jeep.
And it breaks all the time.
So is this deductible the most that we would ever have to pay? Is it a total of all of our deductibles or something?
Yeah.
It's per occurrence typically is what you're going to have for a deductible, right? Or is it an aggregate? Sometimes there's an annual aggregate, sometimes there's a per occurrence.
This paperwork doesn't tell me.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we have,
It is what it is.
yeah, we
Well,
have other spots if that were to happen.
I was more to say if we don't need it, then we cut it, but.
I would leave it where it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Cost of business.
I can tell you currently the rates that I'm seeing are going up. Historically, everyone, I think they're coming in asking for an 11% increase, but they'll probably end up settling down at around 9% by the time
This
they're done.
goes from 186 to 196, so that looks like it's about, I don't know, 5 or 6%. So,
Yep,
seems like it's in line.
it's in line with what I'm seeing, bless you.
Thank you. Motion for 196, 120.
Second.
Any further? All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain?
Fine.
Because he has to.
Okay, because I'm not getting dragged into this at some point.
Any old business to bring up at this point? Is there anything? I don't see anything specific on
No,
here, so.
I have a couple things. It was at the last meeting, Wayne had asked about painting lines
Mm-hmm.
and,
Stop lines.
right. And he, did 5 roads, I believe?
He did
4,
4 so far.
right, for
There's-
375, I think, dollars.
For all 4 rows?
I'll tell you, 375 for 4.
And he's got 14 left? and
Correct.
that's at a cost of $875.
Correct.
So he's just looking for.
That's not bad at all.
Do it.
Yeah. Do we need a motion for that, or he's
No.
got it in his?
Good,
He's got it
Alright.
in his budget.
Yeah, so.
Good,
go
I already
for it.
told him to.
Yeah.
Another's just an update about propane. We got kind of a crazy.
Was that true?
1.799 is what we've locked in at
It's very important
for
that our
propane.
contract gets signed.
I make a motion, we sign that contract?
I already signed it.
Oh, okay, thank
They
you.
needed it signed that day. That was.
Good call, Julie.
That's just for propane.
That's what the price was last year.
So they just continue with the same price?
Yep. And as a select board member, you're welcome to that price now.
I don't have propane, so, except for my grill, it's a little tank,
The
Blue Rhino.
last item was that we had voted for rec to put in a new furnace.
Mhm.
And Jason was just asking, they're planning to do that December 9th to 11th. And since that is an emergency shelter, do we need to come up with something else as an emergency shelter
No, bring a coat.
during the holidays?
Move quick.
Think
They're-
you
And they're
should
replacing it
guarantee
with two
snowstorm that
furnaces, so
day?
they
Yes.
typically should have one online.
They're
while-
hoping, right.
It won't be too long.
But I mean, if there is an emergency from December 9th to 11th,
Fire station?
The fire station would be the next
Well,
one.
the fire station's in EOC, so that wouldn't be a shelter, but we would,
Open
like
this up.
typically if there's, we can't house at the rec center because there's no
Shower.
Beds.
showers. So we would look to the
It's
state
not a
to
problem
open
in New Hampshire.
it's more of a warming station than than a shelter, so
There are other, I mean,
we could open
library,
this
we
as a
could open
warming
this,
station
yeah.
if we had to.
We're bringing portable heaters with the
Right.
cheap propane.
We aren't doing that.
No.
The fire
It's
department
against
will have
the-
a cow. If you start putting little propane heaters in here, the carbon monoxide alone, they'll have a cow.
But you could use this building technically as a warming station and
all right. so
Yeah, I
we
don't
won't
think
worry
it's
about it.
yeah, I don't think it's
We
an
can
issue.
use the highway station, the highway building doesn't have heat, right?
That was all I had.
Okay. Moving on, unless there's any other old business, we have a Health Dental Insurance Committee recommendations. Who's going to produce or present that on behalf of the committee?
I'm the chair of that subcommittee, so I was gonna do it.
I
but-
figured we're all gonna have a discussion on it, right?
Oh, for sure, just, yeah, that's fine. So I had sent out, although you probably want me to print it for you. I had sent out an attachment with the recommendations, from the subcommittee. The subcommittee recommended amending the current handbook policy to say that the town will cover 100% of Plan B for a single person, 80% of Plan B for a couple, and 80% of Plan B for the family plan. And those same amounts will be carried over to Plan A and Plan C. The committee also recommends that the board consider, yes, that's the one, consider looking into adding or providing funds towards co-pays in general, or yeah, deductibles, sorry, in general. We were not,
HSA,
we were not,
HPA, or
the committee was not specific, just that the select board should investigate that as a possible way to assist the employees.
And I don't mean to cut you off, but I know Julie had some information that maybe she could share on the HRA FSA discussion. Is there any more that you wanted to say?
Not from the committee, but yeah.
I had asked Julie also to tell me what the cost would have been for the employees per year if the calculations were accurate. Did you get a chance to do that for the year?
I started it,
Okay.
and that's as far as I got with it.
Okay.
I don't know if Jim has that information or not. Okay. I thought we had done that a long time ago.
At one point?
I have one, but I don't know if it's,
Because we needed the family plan, we needed the couple, and then we need, individual would be 100% free anyway, because we pay 100%. So I just needed the family and the couple plan, what the rate would have been for each plan that we have right now currently.
Are you looking to see if you have that, Letty, or not?
So I do, I'm gonna say the same thing I said before. I don't know how we should apply a policy that has 3 plans to 2 plans.
Well, we know, I just wanted, so we're gonna take, so if we had $1,000 deductible plan, which I believe we did last year, right?
Yep.
So for the $1,000 deductible, what's the percentage we're paying on that, right, at 80?
So that's where I don't know how to answer the question, because the select board for 2 consecutive years voted to carry on the way it was, applying a 3-plan policy to 2 plans. So the way that was done for those 2 years was the $0 deductible plan was what the 100%, 75%, 75% was calculated on. And that was then, those same numbers were applied to the $1,000 deductible. The second issue that you're talking about is that for the entirety of this year, nobody ever updated those rates in the system to be 2025 rates. So that's a separate.
Yeah, so I just wanted to know roughly what would have been the cost if I do take the $1,000, for example, $1,000 deductible, the 25%. So what was the total cost for, all I have to do is figure out what the total cost
Yep.
is per family plan for that one plan, less 25%. That tells me what the employees would have paid for 25%.
Yep.
What they should have paid. And then what's the rate for the next year's 26 plan?
Yep.
For the same plan, it's going to tell me what increase are they actually incurring.
Okay.
Do you need that information for purposes of the recommendation?
Nope, that's just for me to understand that. So when we have to, like when we're talking about if we create an HSA or HKA or FSA or whatever they call them nowadays, I don't know, then we have an idea.
I'm just looking back through some spreadsheets that I had on this, and if the plan with $1,000 deductible had been considered the Plan B, and we didn't have a C, and the 0 deductible was the Plan A, and we did it at 175 and 75, the employee should have been contributing $738.48 a month, and they've been contributing $100.40 a month.
$100.40? Okay.
Yeah,
And that's for the family plan, right?
that was for the family plan, yes.
Again, the challenge that we face is if
Right.
there's 2 plans, how do you decide which one is in the middle?
Well, that's why I said just go off the $1,000 because that's the middle plan now, right? Because we
Right,
had
but it wasn't the
0,
middle,
1,000, and
but
3,000.
for the last 2 years, it was not the middle plan. It was the lower plan.
Can we have, it seems to me we ought to at least have a discussion about whether we go with this recommendation for 100, 80, and 80. Is that where we're at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay.
Thoughts?
I'm all for it, so.
I like it.
I like it. I think the plans that we ended up going with Health Trust, the reason that we ended up going with Health Trust is because we couldn't go, and we discussed this before, we couldn't go with the other plans. There was a couple obstacles that you had in there. It's based off of age, and that's problematic. I know there's other things too that came into it, was Medicare. Some employees might qualify for that. And there's age restrictions and stuff like that. Our policy that we have through Health Trust doesn't really care about that age bracketing. So where if you get into the private sector, that they care about age bracketing, which I can understand why. So I would make a motion for the 180/80 for the middle plan. Then we
Well,
jockey it accordingly.
when you say jockey it accordingly, it would be
Because-
Well-
180 and 80 would apply
Across the board.
across the board.
No,
Those,
no.
those amounts would,
No,
those,
those amounts,
those
Did
amounts
you-
will.
it's Plan B, right? So you have A, B, C.
Yeah,
Plan A is the $0 deductible.
I think he just said it the wrong way. He knows, because we
Yeah.
talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
The same amount would carry.
Right.
Right, but it's still gonna be,
We're still gonna contribute the same amount we would for Plan B. If they
Right.
choose to go with the better plan, which is $0 deductible,
They'll pay
we're
more.
only gonna contribute whatever, they're gonna have to pay whatever.
they'll pay the
portion.
difference.
Right.
If
Yep.
we go with Plan C, it's less cost.
Right.
And to the employee and
Right.
us.
Right.
And that's where we would add the HSA.
Yeah, or HRA.
HRA is
Yeah,
what it
there's
is
a
here?
FSA and an HRA. We could have that discussion, but
Yeah.
do we want to first vote on the,
80,
Yeah.
180/80.
I think Kat had something she wanted to say.
is there a comment?
Sure.
Okay.
The more info, the better. Hit your microphone.
Very quickly. I know it's late.
Yeah, you got
There-
30 seconds.
Very brief history. And you guys can have this. 2022, 2023, 24, 25, and 26. 2022, we had 3 plans. I have this one highlighted in lighter blue because that's the plan that eventually drops off. So 22, we have 3 plans, 22, 23. In 24, the top plan drops off. In 24 and 25, the board, we've rehashed this, I'll just say it my way again. I know people disagree with me. The board decided in 24 to not replace the top plan. They considered adding a bottom plan, but because they did want to keep the contributions somewhat steady for the employees, they didn't want to shift all the cost. They would have looked at, try to do like all of the deductible, and that wasn't reasonable. That's how I understood that conversation. So instead of messing with it, we kept the policy, the town policy. We just ignored the fact that we do not have one of the plans. The rest of the policy still applied. The plan that always had 75% contributed by the town still had 75, and the other plan was cheaper because the amounts were applied. In 26, we have decided, you guys have decided, to add a plan because we should have 3. That plan is being added to the bottom. Therefore, everything is shifting, okay? So the difference in cost to the town versus to the employee is if you compare it to the corrected 2025, which simply corrects the clerical error of 2024 rates. The annual employee contribution is going, if you keep it at, sorry, this is the 75, you guys did, you're considering 80, so I'll just focus on that. Annual increase for employees is 2,686 for the AB 20 plan, which is the non-deductible one, for single. So you used to pay for single people. Now they have to contribute 16%. That's 2,686.80 cents.
I thought we paid 100% for singles.
Not.
Nope,
for the
Not for
because
the
it's
top plan,
shifting.
okay, okay.
But those employees Those
So-
employees can go to Plan B
Y-
for
They
no
could
charge,
change plans, yes.
other than a deductible.
The family would pay $3,050 more, sorry, the couple, and the family $4,118, and I'm not reading the change. For the deductible plan, the single person would pay nothing, and the couple will be $3,700 extra, and the family would be $5,028 extra. If you don't go to the 80, those numbers were even scarier. It was 7,000 extra for that last family plan. I also calculated what that would be if you divided by 2,080 hours, which is regular employees, not the firefighters. And it's anywhere from 1.29 to 3.97 an hour rate cut. So you can look at it either, some of us have to pay literally 8,000 more, which is $4 less in pay. You approved up to 2.8, merit, whatever, everything combined. So
And I-
that's a perspective. And then the town, sorry, Julie, I'll let you speak. If you compare the actual costs for the town, so we're not gonna do it with the enrollment. We could say, if you compare apples to apples, same enrollment, right? We could also do it as just plain cost. Health Trust does it too. They just simply add up as if you had one person participating in the single, one in couple, one in family, right? The total cost for that in 2025, corrected, to the town was $140,000, to the employee 23,000. In '26, if you go with the 80%, not the 75, the town will actually pay less money by 7,000, and the employees pick up 18,000 additional ones. So by shifting these plans, if everybody wants to keep their plan because they're used to it and that it has other benefits, the cost is shifting directly onto the employees. The town's actually saving money. That's what I wanted to contribute. And you can have all these numbers.
Did you have something to address
I
there,
just-
Julie?
I just want to say this because there was a town office employee who wasn't aware that all of the employees who are on a family plan are currently on Plan B. And yes, there was, I don't know, 700 some odd additional dollars that would be deducted from their pay per month for that, to stay on that plan. But if they move to Plan C, which everything is the same, the deductibles are $5, the co-pays, so forth, are $5 to $15 more, but they actually pay less than they're paying now. $100.40 is what they pay now erroneously, and it would be, I think it came to $78 and change, so they would actually be paying less. Yes, they would have a deductible. The board may decide to cover a portion of that. When I told the employee that, they were shocked that it would actually cost them less next year, and that seemed to calm the individual down.
Which I think is why we were talking about a potential for an HRA
Right.
on the Plan C, which has a bigger deductible. And, you know, as I understand it, there are two,
Deductible plans, right?
well, two possibilities. There's an HRA, which has the town contributing towards the deductible. Then there's an FSA, which is paying some money towards reimbursed medical benefits, but that the employee has to contribute and then the town matches. It's a little more complicated. It seemed to me that if we were going to have a discussion about helping, it would be with some sort of HRA contribution, at least for the Plan C, which had the larger deductible. And where the biggest impact is, and we were looking at the census on this earlier, is with regard to families, because that's going to be the highest deductible amount. There are 5 families that are presently on the census. There are 16 individuals who presumably at 100% are going to remain on Plan B because we'll pay for that 100%. Couples who are on Plan A who move to the $1,000 deductible on Plan B, it virtually works out to be a wash. So the bigger concern is the families that would then move down, as Julie was just talking about, to Plan C. So, you know, I'd be in favor of at least, you know, considering some sort of HRA contribution, you know, there.
So I think the goal tonight was the 180/80.
Yep.
Like, I think the plan outline and the cost should be distributed to everybody to look at before we make decisions about it, because I have no idea what the 3 plans are.
We could do that.
You know,
Well, the only thing you have to decide tonight is the HRAs and the FSA, because the deadline for that was last Friday, and he's giving us an extension till tomorrow.
I don't know how we can make a decision on something we don't know what's gonna cost us.
Can we just decide to go with an HRA and
He needs all that information
like
tomorrow.
the detail in terms of what we would be contributing?
So Andy, I'm sorry, what's the question?
So I haven't actually seen the plans of deductibles, coverage, cost. Like like my plan, I know, like, my current plan is 5,000, 10,000, like 5,000 person, 10,000 family for my max amount. Like, what is?
Couple too, or?
Yeah, it's 5,000, 10,000.
It's,
But I want to see it on paper.
I
don't
know,
want you to-
I can print it.
But
Yeah,
I think,
I thought the health committee had the various, what you're talking about, like the.
I'm
the
sure they did,
coverages.
but
Yeah,
I wasn't on the health committee.
understood.
Yeah,
We can
or
pull it,
unless,
probably pull it right up.
I
But-
was gonna see if Letty could put it on.
We could actually just do the savings between C and B, because that would be what you wanted to spend in a HRA.
Yeah.
But I mean, when we make,
I don't know what the dollar savings really comes out to be, but.
The savings to the town?
Yes.
There's no savings to the town, because you're paying, the
between
town's,
B and C,
the
Right.
town's paying the same amount, whether you go A, B, or C.
Right.
It just decreases the amount that the employee
They
contributes
contribute,
when you move to Plan B.
And they
I
have
mean,
a high,
Plan
and they
C.
have a higher deductible.
doesn't seem right.
That
'Cause
is
we-
literally how it is set up.
It's the rates were kind of convoluted,
Can-
the way they have them.
can you
but
show
that's
him
why
that?
we couldn't compete with private markets.
So the way that it's set up, do you see that bottom one?
Yep.
So we calculate the 100%, 80%, 80% off of that middle Plan B, and then we take those same dollar amounts that the town pays,
And you apply them
and we
to-
apply them to A and C. So the town pays the exact same amount all 3 ways. The
Based on B.
employee pays less for C and more for A.
Right, but the town's paying the same regardless.
If they're paying less for C, technically they would have savings to pay towards their deductible.
Right.
Correct.
Except for a family, that's $9,000.
And yours is
So
10,000?
So in answer to your question,
Mine's 14,500.
is that your out-of-pocket maximum or so the out-of-pocket is 10,000 for the family. The 9,000 is just the
On which plan?
deductible, the Plan C. It's 3,000 for a single person, 6,000 for a couple, and
10,000 for
9,000 for a family for the deductible with a 10,000 out-of-pocket maximum. And yes, I can try to print this. I know I've got
Okay,
it
So-
somewhere.
put it on the screen.
So technically, the way HRA would work would be that employee is on the Plan B for family plan would be paying $638 a month. And on Plan C, the employee would be paying $74 a month. Usually, instead of offsetting the $600, the town would put the $600 into a HSA for them, so it would cost the same amount of money if we want to do a savings account. I don't see why we would still be spending $2,000, $2,500, and then also offering more money.
Yeah,
To
I would
take-
see, I would agree with that, yeah.
Well, I think the concept would be, you know, it's a bigger hit for those 5 families on the census that would be moving down to Plan C, so it would provide some sort of.
But their savings is
In the,
$600 a month, right?
right.
So if you're saving $600 a month, now you're looking at $7,200 a year, you're not putting towards it, but now that goes towards your deductible.
I get it. I get it.
Can I say one more thing? I mentioned this in the budget, in the committee also. The insurance cost is not going up equally among the policies that we have chosen, even the 2 that we have. One of them went up about 5%, the other one almost double. Have you guys considered, since you're changing the contribution to 180, have you considered just changing the contribution overall to ease the pain? So 185, I'm sorry, where am I? Yeah, 185 for the middle one, 84 and 75 for the other one, for the top one, and then 190. Because under the current thing, you're contributing 96%.
You mean
for the
between
highest
A, B, and
deductible.
C have different rates of contribution?
Well, technically you do.
Right.
Because you're offsetting it because of the way we're
Right.
doing it. Right.
But they would be slightly more normalized, if you know what I mean. Because like people that used to get their insurance for free would have to take that deductible plan technically, otherwise they're $2,600 out.
They're saving themselves $600 a month.
And I was talking about the non-deductible one, that's how much it's going up. You guys, instead of contributing 100% to that single plan that doesn't have deductible, it's now 84, which is
If you go.
2,600
If you're a
increase.
single and you go to Plan B, the town is paying 100% of that. So the only thing you're out is the $1,000 deductible.
That's correct. I'm still talking about trying to give employees option to keep the plan that they're on. I know a lot of people will have to shift because this train is moving forward, I understand. But there are additional costs, as Andy asked, he would like to see the plans and what they contribute. Julie mentioned $5. That's correct for a couple of the copays. But there's others that are 25, 10, 50. And then there is a pretty big difference between the non-deductible plan and the deductible plan. You have a lot less choice. Like you could just, you have to go to those SOS site of service places for everything. Otherwise, you pay. That is adjustment for some people. I understand it's probably necessary.
You mean like
But-
a Quest Labs or something?
Not just Quest Labs, it's the higher level imaging. I'm on the deductible plan and I made a mistake of not getting it in writing and just calling them because it was an emergency. They wanted me to do x-rays and then the rest of the imaging in Exeter Hospital. And I said, no, I'll do it the next day. It'll be fine. Where else can I go? Because I knew I would pay for that. And they incorrectly gave me a location that was not SOS. I went there, I questioned them. I said, this is hospital-based, just as like Exeter. Like, no, this is your SOS plan. I never got it in writing. I'm still paying it. I had to put it on a payment plan. So, like Andy said, you have to consider other things people will face. Yes, I understand we will all be forced to take the cheaper plan, the next one down at least. So, and there will still be cost associated with it, even if you help with the deductibles for a lot of people, even with the premiums. There's a lot of breakdown. I don't have the data on who is on which plan and how many, but there's a lot. By shifting the plans down and adding one to the bottom instead of to the top, everybody's already worse off.
There wasn't even an option to add to the top unless you did the one that only benefits people who
Nationwide.
have nationwide,
I understand, and that's.
which would just be a few, I would guess.
And I understand, but the discussion should be, we couldn't have added plan to the top, so we added one to the bottom. So let's recognize how much that shifts the cost and the type of insurance you have, and give this a lot more thought. This was presented, I will say it one more time, this was presented as a huge mistake of, we already should have been paying some other deductibles, which is,
So wasn't this a recommendation of the employee-based committee that was established by the select board?
yes, they recommended the 80.
And we can't even change plans at this point.
Right.
They already chose the plan, so the
Right.
plans have to stay.
Right.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Do you want my cheaters?
He already has.
So the only thing we need to make a decision tonight is,
180, 80, and then whether or not we do an HSA or HKA, HRA.
or FSA.
FSA or HRA.
And FSA, you can't carry over. Can you carry over
No,
the?
neither one you can carry.
Neither one, so they have to use it or lose it.
And the thing with, the difference with the HRA, you're not putting out any money up front. It's not like you're giving the employees whatever dollar amount you're saying. We just reimburse for charges that come in that would go towards the deductible.
We'd have to, how do
You
we
have to budget for
How do we,
it.
what would we,
You have to budget for the max that you would need.
Well, could
I see.
since the employees, if they go with that Plan C and they go with that higher deductible, could they, if they're saving $600 a month on their premium, could they be taking money out of their account to also pay into the HRA?
no. because
They don't pay, the
don't pay
employees don't
anything.
pay into the HRA.
What about the FSA?
The
No.
FSA, the employees would.
And then they could
contribute.
use that towards their deductibles and
But,
everything else.
but there's no difference between that and just paying for it out of pocket, is there?
Well, there's a tax.
pre-tax.
difference. Yeah, it's
Oh,
pre-tax.
well, that's the,
Yeah.
that's the answer.
They're
For
not
both of
paying
them,
taxes on it.
Or just the one?
The
FSA is pre-tax.
Yeah,
'Cause
HRA.
HRA, the employee isn't paying, that's the town.
That's all town contributing. So I would say you have to, I would recommend probably an FSA, and if they go with Plan C, they pay towards their deductible, whatever they're saving.
and the FSA, you can only contribute towards the employee, not towards a spouse or the other family members.
Oh.
It's not a card that they have that goes towards their deductibles and everything else? Because that's typically how the FSA works.
Yeah, the FSA I've had in the past, anybody on your health insurance plan,
Apparently not through Health Trust.
You can pay for your prescriptions and everything else with the card. I have one. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just for the employer.
The employer to contribute?
I
or
mean, the employee.
The employee, okay.
The employer can put in a one-time $500 contribution, and then they can match dollar for dollar up to,
Only for the employee,
right,
which for a family plan would,
right.
Not, right. So they would have to self-budget themselves then, if they went with Plan C. So if they're saving $600 a month, they need to put that $600 a month towards an account
Well,
that
but
they have
they're not
themselves.
really saving $600 a month because they weren't paying that now.
Don't we presently have an
But they
an
should have.
FSA?
We do
Sure,
currently
they're
have an
not.
FSA, and
But we don't contribute.
we don't contribute to it, but the employees are welcome to contribute.
Well, why can't we just then continue that?
With that,
And
yeah.
As, Bob was suggesting, if an employee wants to take that savings
And put it
and
there.
put it towards the premium,
But
it would be pre-taxed to do
Yeah.
so.
I want to be clear that on paper, it looks like a savings, but in terms of what the employees have actually been having come out of their pockets, it's new money that they're going to have to find in their budgets. It's an extra $600 a month.
I think that's why Bob was looking at what the employee is actually paying currently.
Correct.
Right, the employees actually are paying, what, a little over $100 a month?
Yeah, they were paying $1,204.80, but they should have been $8,861.
Right, whether or not,
correct? Yeah.
should have, I hear you, but in terms of them making their budgets for next year, they're still gonna have to find that.
Unless they go
With
to
Plan C.
another plan, whether it be Plan B that singles would likely go to, or
And Plan C was
that
a savings,
families
yeah.
might go to.
Right, but when you're saying that they would then just move the money that they would have been spending on their plan, that's still money that they have to find in their budget, because that was not money that they were currently budgeting for.
Understood, but it would still be pre-tax if you did it as an FSA that we presently offer. So would we need to do anything differently?
No, if we
Not
still
for
have
the
the FSA,
FSA.
then it's,
Okay.
still continues on as normal.
I'm not familiar with those. When is that funded? Do you have to fund it at the beginning of the year?
I think you choose your election probably on an FSA. I
Be-
know my election at my company right now is going on till the 21st. And I usually choose how much is coming out of my paycheck every week, or I get paid twice a month. So bi-monthly,
Yeah, I guess it
I
depends
choose
on
the
the
amount
plan.
that comes out and it goes in and it's pre-tax and it basically goes onto the card.
Okay, and then
Have the
if
card
you
and
don't
all
lose
that.
it, you lose it at the end of the year.
Mine is.
That's why I'm asking, how can you contribute?
mine
Can I
is a-
stop contributing?
No.
It's
There's-
every
I
year you
think
have
there's
to
only-
elect for it.
I think there's only one person that currently has it, if I remember
Yes.
correctly,
I believe you're correct.
and they don't.
There's a lot of things you can use it for, like glasses,
I
Right.
use it for,
over-the-counter medicine, stuff like that. That's, most people, there's an FSA store that
mine's
most
a
people,
health equity card.
You can go
Burn
buy
it up at-
sunscreen, you can,
Yeah.
yeah.
if
I
they
use it
don't
for
use it,
prescriptions, and then if I don't use it up, I go and buy
bandages.
bandages and Tylenol and everything else, and I go up to the pharmacy and I buy it all there, and it goes through. And I basically erode the amount of coverage I
Yeah,
have left. on it.
depending on the plan, it sometimes extends for a few months, but, I don't know what our plan documents
Yeah.
specifically say. You'd have to dive into the detail of that.
So I guess we have to see if we're gonna make a vote to modify the employee handbook instead of being 175-75 for Plan B. If we're gonna go to 180-80, which means the town is contributing 5% more on those plans versus staying with the 175-75. And I would make a motion that we change it to 180-80. It's more of a benefit to the employee.
And I don't know, I don't know if everyone has this, just for the people in the internet land. That is the town taking on an extra $1,271 or $72 a month, or an extra $15,000 a year.
The marginal difference between,
75% and 80%.
thank you.
So
then
we're
I have
basically
more.
incurring an extra 15 grand a year to do
Well,
that.
You shifted the plans.
Yes, we shifted the plans.
but somewhere we've been paying it. I don't know where it's been coming from.
Nobody really knows.
Yeah.
So I will second the 180 and 80.
And it's just an addendum to the handbook.
Correct.
Yeah, I think technically this is all going to be a reduction in what the town has been paying compared to what the town has been paid in the past.
Any other discussion? I'll also take other public comment from if anyone wants to do so.
Don't everybody run at once.
Yeah. Okay. Hearing no further discussion, we'll vote on it. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Against?
I'm an A.
Okay. Do we need a vote to continue the FSA that we presently have? I don't think so.
No.
Okay.
No, because that just stays.
Okay.
And you won't consider the other one?
Which other one?
The
HRA.
I mean, I think we spoke about it a little bit, and it sounded as though the savings,
Is-
would offset what we would reduce the deductible by.
Right. Because if you're saving $600 a month, that's $7,200 for the year, so that offsets.
But again, I want to be clear that people aren't saving that. They're not, it's not
They're
like they're,
saving $25 a month is what they're saving from this year for the family.
We can only save that money if we change plans. We have to change plans, take higher risks with the deductibles, with the additional copays, with the restrictions of the plan. So the only way we can save money in order to then pay for our own deductible is by changing plans. So for our money, we're getting less of a plan. And if we want to stay on the same plan, we would be thousands behind, as I read earlier, the numbers. So I don't appreciate that it's being repeated that employees are saving money, so now they can pay for their own deductibles.
This,
Thank you.
and just to be
That's all.
clear, the amount that was being contributed by the employees, and I understand Letty's argument, is that, yes, the employees are having to come up with money. Unfortunately, it's been underbilled, is I guess how I would put it, for what the employee's contribution should have been. And the town has been picking up that burden against what the handbook outlined.
the select board approved it. Like, the select board can go against their handbook whenever they want to.
Right. And now we're basically putting it back to the handbook.
Yeah.
And we're choosing to go to 180/80 versus keeping it at 175/75, which means the employees would have to contribute more.
To stay on the plan that
To
they
stay on the
are currently
plans.
on.
Yeah,
Yes.
And
I
there-
think we're just rehashing.
We're just
And
going back
there's-
over it.
There's still no better plan offered, better than the ABSOS. Yeah. the
There's
non-
no such thing as a better plan.
Then-
Nobody in the world has a better plan than a no deductible plan.
Oh, probably the federal government does, sorry.
Well,
A
yeah,
little bit
maybe,
of a joke.
maybe a US senator, but
Yes.
Yeah, well, they got the,
Okay.
they got the golden, they got the golden parachute.
I recognize that the better plan is not there, but I want this board to recognize that you shifted everything to a worse plan. That's all.
There was no other plans to not shift them to
All right, that's, yeah, we can continue this on for, thank you.
hours. Yes.
So no HRA, no, nothing else.
No.
yeah,
Committee updates.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Rec, we have done, Jim and Julie and myself have started doing the in-person interviews. We've done phone interviews and then moved to bringing people in for in-person interviews. We have another one tomorrow, and I need to confirm with you that you're okay for 4, so we're doing another one tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And then hopefully after that, then we can get together and make a recommendation to the board where we want to go with moving forward with background checks and stuff like that, and making an offer to somebody. I think we have potential, and it's just a matter of doing our due diligence on making sure we're looking at the right people. So that's where we're at on that.
I don't have, there's nothing that, at this late hour, that I could say about conservation that is significant, that happened at the last meeting. I'll give you, Doug, an opportunity if you wanted to say something about planning. I can't, nothing is coming to mind that was of great import, but feel free.
I'll be very quick, because I know the hour is late. Doug Marino, Planning Board member, just stay tuned for, we're finalizing some of the warrant articles that we're going to be putting forward. And so there's going to be more information going out on the town's various channels, including the newsletter. So just stay tuned for that.
Okay, thank you.
That was brief, thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else for a brief committee update?
Why are you looking at me brief? Well, I'm the, so, the highway department wanted me to discuss a couple things with you real quick. They were approached by Fish and Game to store one of Fish and Game's trailers in the highway shed. Wayne thinks he has enough room for it. That would take it out of the elements for Fish and Game, and so he just wants to make sure that we're okay with that. I told him I'd talk to the select board about it. I don't see a problem with it. If he has the room and it's not interfering with his equipment or his duties, I don't see a problem.
It's a state fishing game?
Yes.
I mean, should we get some sort of waiver from them, or?
Probably not a bad idea. Okay. And also, today when we were going around, I was going around with him, inspecting the lines that have been already painted on the roads. I found out that the radios in all of the highway department vehicles aren't working properly, so they can't talk to each other, which doesn't make any sense to me. So I told Wayne to find out what it's going to take to get those working properly and get with Julie, and we can figure that out, because it's important that our highway department can talk to each other.
Didn't we buy them radios, or didn't they get hand-me-down radios?
Yes, but they weren't programmed properly.
Okay.
So that's highway. Fire, I met with Roy today. We had a very good meeting. They had a recent command and control training. Actually, no, that's coming up. The command and control training is coming up. They recently had a pump operations training that they completed, and they used our brand new tanker for it, and it worked very well. And that is commissioned. That's out now, and they're using it. It's all outfitted. Few little things still need to be worked on, but it's going well, and they're happy with it. We want to give a shout out to Tractor Supply here in town, because during their Hometown Hero event, they donated $500 to the Brentwood Firefighters Association to go towards scholarships for people in town. So thank you, Tractor Supply. And that's all I have. Police is going well.
Just to point out, you sound like Wolfman Jack with your voice.
Hey, thank you very much.
Should be doing a road. I'm dating myself with Wolfman Jack, but.
Yes, I do have one more committee update. Thank you, Bertie. December 11th at 7 p.m. here, right in this very building, in this very room. Thank you. I think my
Big words.
my meds are kicking in. It's past my bedtime.
He cracked at that one. He's going back to puberty on this one.
We're meeting for a public Q&A for the municipal complex, the police station proposed, and we have a what we think is a very good figure for the standalone police station at 5.6 million. So we wanted to put that out there because we know that there's a lot of people out there that are still discussing and talking about $20+ million, and that is not at all what we're doing. So if you want more information about what we're doing as a committee for the police station and the municipal complex, be here on December 11th at 7 p.m. We welcome everyone.
Yeah, please.
Just, sorry, going back to old business, we're very close to getting the tax rate. I was on the phone with our DRA rep today, who discovered that the form that our auditor sent had a slight issue with it, so they've reached out to them asking for a correction, which hopefully they will get by tomorrow morning, and then it will be in the select board's hands to decide what they want to do from there, so we might.
We probably are gonna have to have an emergency meeting then.
Yeah, so my thought would be, either to meet, depending on when it comes in, either
Thursday.
later in the day or Thursday
Probably gonna have to be Thursday because we gotta post it 24 hours ahead, right?
for an emergency.
No,
Not for emergency. Okay, right, okay.
I'm here both days, it doesn't matter, whatever.
Well, let's see what time it comes in, and then Julie can reach out. I mean, the sooner, obviously, the better. If
Yep.
we can do it tomorrow afternoon, fantastic.
I'll be here at 4 to do interviews, so.
If not, Thursday morning. And if people need to be remote for that because, they're unable, I certainly understand.
I'm available Thursday, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm at the New Hampshire Municipal Association conference, so
Oh,
You could call in.
I
or-
absolutely can call in, but the
Okay.
sooner you let me know, the better.
what time you at the conference so we can,
All day on Wednesday and Thursday,
Wednesday and Thursday.
so tomorrow and Thursday, okay.
but I can step out. I mean, setting the tax rate's kind of important.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be quick. Here's what they got.
Well, and however much you might want to use.
Right, we'll have to make a couple of decisions there, so.
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
And you think you'll call in for that, Andy, or?
tomorrow I am not available unless it's like early, but Thursday I would be able to call in. If it's,
Like, so you couldn't do it all in the afternoon tomorrow?
So why don't we plan on
unless
for
I can do it from a
Thursday?
firearms range with a lot of shooting in the background.
Not perhaps.
Well, if you're setting the tax rate, you might want to be shooting it. So maybe we just plan on Thursday
Well,
later in the
better.
afternoon?
Sooner the better.
Sooner
I mean,
better, okay.
Oh, tax rate, you don't need.
Yeah, true.
Daphne's assured me that they are ready to move on it
Grant the
quickly,
bills.
once they.
I'll leave it up to you, Andy. What do you want us
I
to
am
do?
fine if you guys can do it tomorrow.
All right, we'll let you know. Okay. Julie will let you know.
We'll text you the
Like
rate.
if it's like 2 in the afternoon, I can call in, but if it's
Okay.
after 3 o'clock, I am not available.
Okay.
I make a motion to go into non-public.
Well, unless there was any public comment, I'm assuming we've exhausted all of you?
That was the intent.
Okay.
Thank you all for coming.
Consider this as a.
Second.
Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
And it's for personnel.
understand what I
I
was saying
see.
about that.
Yeah, it's just fucked up because Bob Lawler talks about having issues with it keeps people away from stuff. It's a safety concern.
And I just think these are all.
Oh. I'm gonna turn off the live stream. Does that sound good? I know. Somebody get your